You could also just have whoever's running the tournament, like purely behind the scenes and not tell anyone, see the tournament based on just their own.
Oh yeah.
They could just
Their
say,
own
"I'm
prejudice.
ranking everyone," and mostly you just have to get everyone in the right quarter.
Sure.
But we've done that in some tournaments in Onstera. We didn't tell the participants they were
So
doing it, but like I worked with the list coordinator and we just ranked everyone like that way. You fought people like you didn't. You did just help. It helped the tournament organizer, the list coordinator, run the list better by having kind of an idea where everyone should be.
do you pit people who are close to each other's skill level together in early rounds?
You try to so depends on the format, right? So like a lot of times on tournaments are run like either round robin or they're run like a Swiss 5 where you fight 5 fights, can't repeat a style, and then they take the top scorers and go to a bracket. And so for that, you want to fight people. You want to have each person fight a mixture of skill levels because we had some problems. The reason we started doing this was because we had some problems where like someone would go 5-0, but they had fought all lower level fighters,
Right.
and someone else would go like 2-3, but they had fought like all mods or something like that, or even and so it's like and it's like a way to determine. So like the Bedford point like seeds itself as you go, right? So we were kind of doing it behind the
Just
scenes.
getting a head start on that.
Head start, yeah. But precedence would be a totally fine way to do it because you are mostly going to get it about right.
Yeah, it's close enough. Yeah.
But random is bad, in my opinion. I mean, for like smaller tournaments, it doesn't matter. For serious tournaments, random is not the best way.
Jonathan.
Yes.
Is this the mic that you're using? Your setup right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
For tonight. Cool. You sound quieter.
I don't
know if it's something changed on your end.
No, I don't think I've changed anything.
All good. All right. Hello, chat. We're gonna wait for people to pile in for a little bit. We were just talking about whether or not Bedford points or Swiss points is the most fair way to kind of get people to be sorted into fighting into their, I suppose, delineation. Hello. Welcome, Rufus. Reefus. How do I make a poll? All right. Let's see. Is there any amount of, or is there any order in which we want to watch this footage?
It doesn't matter to me.
Any strong preferences, Robert? Oh, Robert. Hello. Oh, he's muted. You're muted if you're talking, or if you're trying to talk. Or he may have just AFK'd. John, how are you?
I'm good.
I'm back.
Oh, welcome back.
Sorry, I had to step away for a second.
No, you're good.
No worries.
Yeah, no strong preferences on order. The only thought that I had was if one of the Athemark people rolls in, we've already reviewed their footage. That would be a bummer.
Okay. So we will. How about we give it a little bit of time, and I want to watch that video you posted, Robert, in one of the chats.
Which video did I post?
Oh, the thing about Penzik?
Yeah, the Penzik thing.
Chat, oh, yeah.
If you haven't seen this is a new video that I have not yet watched. So I want to watch it. We're gonna do a video watch together as people are getting in here.
Yeah.
And then as we start going over footage, if your footage is in the list that I'm about to pull up, let us know. We'll be happy to review it while you're here. All right, let's watch this together. Hopefully there's nothing that's going to break TOS. Should be fine. Right?
Do you want to?
I don't think so.
Thank you for the follow.
Discord too first.
Slippery Rock is just such a great town.
Yeah, let me break that. Pull it up in Discord. Give me a second here. Share your screen. All right, you guys should be able to see it in Discord. All right, chat. This is a video that Robert dropped in a chat. I think it is advertising Penzik in some way. So we're going to watch it together.
Was that Lucian?
Whom?
The back of there was a fighter's head, but it looked like
Slippery Rock is just such a great town. It's a cool area for rock climbing, boating, swimming, and hiking along McConnell's Mills. Really anything that people want to do outside-wise, it's all literally within 5 to 15 minutes away from here.
It looks awesome.
Bunch of nerds.
There's a bunch of Monsturians right there, actually.
50 miles north of Pittsburgh, you'll find Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania. Population 3,086. Well, this beautiful town is home to verdant scenery, celebrated breweries, and a babbling brook. It's also home to the largest gathering of medieval arts and culture anywhere in the world. Welcome to Pensic-land, a place where ancient metal forging, madrigal songs, hand-to-hand combat, and a fierce battle for kingdom supremacy are all just a stone's throw from the interstate. I'm Dylan Thurst reporting for Atlas Obscura, and this is Small Town, Big Story.
Hey, we were in those battles.
Yeah, it's always so cool recognizing people in these videos.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
My mom is actually in this one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right.
Oh, it's so hard to describe because there's so much to it.
Pensic is pure magic. It's the highlight of my summer.
If you want to actually try living in the shoes of a medieval person, the Pensic War is the best place in the world to do it.
Slippery Rock is a beautiful little town in western Pennsylvania. It's got incredible nature, it's got hikes, it's got great breweries, historic sites, and then for a certain part of the year, it's all of that and the biggest medieval battle you will find anywhere on the planet. This place is enormous.
Yes, it is.
What is this? Where are we?
This is Pensic. The name is based on the Roman Punic Wars and the fact that it's based in Pennsylvania.
It started in Berkeley, started very, very small, has grown to 20 kingdoms over the entire globe.
Do you have to be part of a kingdom?
Yes, where you live determines which kingdom you're part of.
I'm in New York State. That would make
That
me
would
part
be
of it.
Kingdom of the East.
I'd be fighting over here.
Yes.
Pretty much anything that you would want to do in a medieval sense, you can do here.
We are members of the Border Watch of Ethelmark. We're situated on the border between Ethelmark and the Mid-Realm, so we consider ourselves the guardians of this end of the kingdom. My real modern name is R.J. Wood, and my Pensic name is Baron Rothbjorn Lothbrok. Lothbrok is an actual famous Viking name. It means hairy pants. And my
Do you know these
friends
people,
thought that
Robert?
was a funny name, and they actually gifted me a pair of faux fur
I've
pants.
seen them around. They live about 2
My
hours
name
north of
is
me.
Emily, but spelled
And, you know, they're heavy fighters.
E-M-I-L-I-E,
I don't
but I've
do much
also
heavy fighting
been
these days.
nicknamed the Honey Badger.
She's
Sure.
only
I've
been
met a few.
training for several months, but she's aggressive and she's got her whole heart into it.
You can look up videos of honey badgers on YouTube, and they fight groups of lions, and they don't have a care in the world.
Adgorium! Ethelmark!
So you grew up in the area.
I did. My
Yeah, I know
parents
2 of
would
those
drive
people.
me by so I could watch
Nice.
from the road.
Okay.
You know, we didn't really know what was going on, but I love watching the suits of armor.
Is there a relationship between this and the community?
Yeah, there absolutely is. I mean, we get 10,000 visitors coming in. It's really a boon to the community.
Yeah.
The Pensic War, it's a battle mainly between the East Kingdom and the Mid Kingdom. Slippery Rock is part of the Kingdom of Ethelmark. So this is our local grounds we're fighting the Pensic War on for our own front yard.
Welcome in, chat. We're just watching this video.
Who are you and
as we wait
where
for
are
folks
we?
to get
Well,
on in
Bob and
for the
Jody,
video review.
we are at the North Country Brewing Company tap room in Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania.
So you've been brewing here now for over 10-ish years?
Yeah,
or
11
so?
years, yeah. Slippery Rock has some cool history. It was a full town established in 1803, I believe. Our building location was the county morgue for a bit. It served funerals from 1850 to 1972. When people come to visit our pub, we have trail maps. There's a couple loop trails. Jennings Nature Preserve, literally 5 minutes down the road. You could ride your bike from Slippery Rock to a bike trail that goes right around Moraine Lake. George Washington used that trail, came right through here on his way to Fort LeBoeuf. The whole town, it's a blend of business community and Slippery Rock University community. It's just full of artists and full of good stores for antiques and everything. We've seen more Pensic people come downtown, making a destination as part of their Pensic experience.
Maybe you could tell me a little bit about the
Have you guys ever
Pensic
been to this
Wars.
brewery?
I feel
It
it's
was nice.
amazing that people come worldwide.
We always love seeing guests come in. The Pensic people.
I
in
do
the
really enjoy
environment
that
are
they're
eating at
talking
the
about
pub,
Slippery Rock a
just
little
like
bit.
it really
Like I learned
brings
a bunch
back
of stuff
the little
from watching
tavern
this.
feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So
You're
they
going all the way
actually
back.
add to the whole experience
really
for
feel like
everybody.
that
Yeah,
making
they
it
really
sound
do.
really
That's
good.
cool.
Same.
Dylan, I'm sure you
The
noticed
population
at the Pennsic
comparison
War,
is crazy
everybody
though.
walks around
The
with a drum mug.
3,000
I did
compared to
notice
10K.
that.
Yeah, your mug
Right,
kind of
yeah,
becomes
no
an
kidding.
extension of your persona.
Actually just
so I wanted to make sure you had a
multi-folding
good
the
look.
size.
I know you have a
Yeah.
Scandinavian heritage, and I
I've always
assume
said
that's where
that
your
Pennsic
persona might
is
go.
Yeah.
the, I think
So
it's the
it's
second
got
or
a
third
bear on
biggest
there, which is like a
town
fierce
or city
animal
in the
that
county
predators
for the
in
2 weeks that we're there.
Scandinavia.
Yeah.
And
Crazy.
famous Viking warriors would often wear bear cloaks to invoke the power of the bear.
I didn't know that.
So yeah, that's where the word berserk comes from. It means bear shirt.
Does it really?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Fun facts.
The bridge battle, there are 5 bridges, and they're made out of hay bales. And we're trying to keep control of the middle of them, and they'll have
That was a fun bridge
the
battle
army of the east on
this
one
past year.
side and the army of the mid on the other.
I think I didn't do the bridge
You both
battle.
come charging in to fight over the initial clash, and then of course if you fall over the hay bales, you've fallen into the water and you're done for the fight. Everything we do is on the honor system. You want to be honest that your opponent hit you. Was it a good shot or not?
Oh. Stays up. Marcus, keep it tight. Keep it together.
This aerial footage is cool.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
The great Lord of the Rings.
It's kind of different whenever you're a lady and you're a part of work. I think a lot of people view it as intimidating. I view it as a challenge. I might look like a tiny little lady, but I will definitely come at you with fury, and if I get knocked
Badger
down, I'm gonna
energy.
come right back. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Whenever I'm out there fighting and I'm charging towards the army, my heart is racing, my adrenaline's up. You can't be distracted, you can't be thinking about work. You're focused 100% on what's happening at the moment. It never gets old. It's fun every time.
How's Brooke? He's got his leg hit.
Hey, it's Lucian.
Lucian, yeah.
So the
I do like knowing
Pennsic
heraldry now.
Wars,
Knowing
there's
people's
all the
heraldry.
battles,
Right.
but there's like
Cool
a
dude, like,
huge
I know that person, I know that
marketplace where every
Yeah.
medieval craft can
Literally
be
every
seen.
time I see a battle battle footage from Pennsic, that's what I'm looking for.
Is heraldry.
What is
Yeah, heraldry and outfits.
How long have you
Yeah,
been doing
yeah,
this?
honestly.
About 20
People know each other
We
by their
make
kits
knives,
a lot of
swords,
times more than they do
axes.
their
You
faces.
know, if it's stabby, slashy, smashy, any kind of persuasion
Especially
like
from
that,
far away.
I'm
They're people
pretty
from
much
other
digging.
kingdoms. I don't know their names, but I know they're kids at Pennsic.
Take it out like this.
Yep.
Okay. And then I'm gonna go just about an inch, you said?
Yep, get it in there. All right,
Take it
pull
out.
Well, that's ruined, and you owe me $1,700. No, I'm just kidding.
Ooh, these are nice axes.
The Pennsic Independent is a small, limited-run newspaper.
You're the Queen of Atlantia?
The Kingdom
That's
of
a-
Fun
that's
fact,
a
that's
big
the
deal.
only
Yes, it's
feature
Maryland,
of
DC,
fencing in this
Virginia,
video.
Yeah.
North Carolina,
Oh, it's
South
that picture of the
Carolina,
Pennsic
and
Independent.
North Augusta.
Yep.
Wonder if Yasmin knows she's in this video. I'll send
Have you
it to her
ever
if she
been in the
doesn't see.
Pennsic Independent before?
My
Oh,
first
yeah.
Pennsic was in 1978. And
Winning
I've been to
tournaments and
every
stuff. I'm sure
Pennsic
you have
since
too.
Then, and I
Yeah.
don't plan
I
to
always
miss
think it's
any
fun,
if I
though.
can help it.
Yeah.
I
That's my
have a
mom,
local
by the way.
choir. It's called the Barony
nice.
March of the Debatable
Yep.
Lands.
I didn't know your mom played.
Yeah,
I think that if
she's
you
been in the
talk to
SCA for
people,
45
you'll find
years.
that they're
47.
all
Does that
I
mean
didn't
you're
realize
second
you were
gen?
second.
inclined towards
I am second gen.
learning.
Oh, I did not know that.
And feel like
Me either.
we are part of not so much the actual Middle Ages because those were brutal, but the Middle Ages as more like the way the Victorians dreamed it, that it was pretty and everybody was noble and gracious and courteous, and we try to recreate the courtesy and chivalry of that piece of the Middle Ages.
Yeah, I grew up in
So
this
have you
camp.
done any singing at all? Not even in like elementary school?
Not really.
No?
I mean, no, not really. Not in any kind of like organized fashion ever. No.
Well, this will be an adventure.
Yeah. For both of us.
All right. So now we're going to start.
This transition is really cool coming up. 40
That's your
seconds.
note right there. It's probably lower than you want to be. Sing, there it is. You got it. Okay, so the song goes, sing cuckoo, new, sing cuckoo, again. Sing cuckoo. Now you keep going. Sing cuckoo. Good. Oh, there is a coming in, Lordy, sing cuckoo.
Sing.
With seed and bow, with mead and sing and wood on you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I love how they synced up the audio.
Good job, editors.
Yeah, seriously.
It's really hard to understand the scale and complexity of what is going on here until you get here. And then suddenly it dawns on you that there are 10,000 people here, every single one of whom is not some spectator, but dedicated to participating in this event in a million different ways. It tells you something that a lot of the people we talk to, they say, oh, how long have you been coming? 6 years, 10 years, 25 years. And that's just because it's like an infinite ocean to swim in. Sing,
That's pretty true. You'll never be able to do all of Penzing.
Yeah. All of Penzing, all the SCA. There's always more to do.
There's always new stuff cropping up.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, Papa.
Dylan has come and asked me to train him in fighting, so we're going to put him in a loner suit of armor, set him up with a sword and a shield. I'm going to train him how to fight, and I'm hoping maybe if my training's good enough, Dylan can have a fight and test his mettle. One of the first big hurdles in learning
Like
to fight
every
is getting
documentary.
used to wearing armor.
This is a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
try
Put the
This is
person in armor.
a suit
Yeah.
of armor. It is
I mean, you
an
gotta,
appropriate
right?
Kit
Yeah.
for
Oh,
a
absolutely.
Viking
It's definitely
Varangian.
like it works though.
Yep.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it feels good.
Now let's put your spang in.
I'm sure it doesn't.
This is a type of helmet.
This thing weighs a
Yeah.
It never feels good.
That sits so poorly on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
And here's your sword.
Dude,
Yeah.
people running this?
Oh yeah. Yep. Yes, it takes
I
a
still
while
don't know
to
if
get
that
used to
net
just
gap
moving in
passes,
armor. It's kind
inspection.
of the first issue in learning
Yeah,
to
it's
train.
a little sus.
Because you know, it's
But
kind
I
of
don't think it
like putting
matters
your
for,
winter
like-
coat
As
on.
long as it goes an inch below your
40
chin.
pounds of stuff.
Yeah. The second big hurdle is often learning how to hit another person. So an important thing to remember when you're training is you want your
Yeah,
shot
like one-on-one
to
training, I don't think it
aim
matters.
for my body. A lot of
Yeah.
people when they're
Well,
new,
is he wearing
they'll
a
come in and
gorget?
throw right at your shield.
Are you
Right
wearing-
tell you
He is,
what
yeah.
to do.
Okay, yeah.
And then if you just throw at my shield, I never have to move it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Ready?
Yep.
Yeah, you can see it there.
The shield takes up a
That's
lot
how
of
every new
space.
fighter
Yeah,
look.
yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Honestly.
it-
Also,
Yeah, get your breath.
Like awkward.
exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Who
how
am I
it feels
fighting?
too.
Emily.
Yeah.
Emily.
When you're new.
Yeah, it's going to be a good
Yeah.
test.
Is
Like, it
there a
looked easy.
combat ground that we go to?
Yeah, I think
I
I
never
think
got
the most
that
opportune
experience
place would be doing
because
it
I
in a
did youth
castle.
fighting growing up, but every time I
Seems
switch
like
to
the right
lefty
place
and
to
try
Go
to
over
throw
there
a
and meet
like
Emily for the test
a
of
chop,
skills.
I feel that same way.
All right. So everyone here has like a Pensic name. I'm going with one that's easy. My last name has a little bit of a medieval flair to it. Turas is how it's pronounced in Norwegian. It means something like of the mountain or Thor's mountain. Turas. So I'm going with Turas, and I live in a valley. So Turas of the Valley. That's my Pensic name. Turas. Turas of the Valley. So I'm not tough enough to say it with a straight face yet, but Turas. Turas of the Valley.
I love that moment.
Yeah,
I've heard
that's so
worse.
good.
Yeah, it's good.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
It's
I'm
fun.
ready.
It's a fun scene.
I'm not sure.
Mhm.
Fighters, at your ready. At your leisure, lay on.
These things are so nice.
Mhm. You have to though.
Yeah, no.
Oh my god, it's so hard. Oh, I'm gonna be in.
Workout.
Yeah.
Pulling his breath.
I think the reason that people come
Oh, yeah,
here, I think
probably.
the reason they love it, I think it's a place where people are really
There's another fence
accepting.
there. Oh, that's Duke Sean.
Not everybody wants to talk to you about your interest in medieval history. Not everyone wants to get really into how to do metalworking, but like here you have a community of people who are going to be excited, they're going to be interested, and there'll probably be some expert who they're going to say, oh, you want to do this thing, you want to make helmets, you got to go talk to this person.
At the end of the Pennsic War, I'll miss it. You go back to your normal life and you wish you were back there.
The group of people that I camp with, they're almost like family. We call it chosen family. And I
That's
have
a
had
gorgeous kit.
things
That
that
was
happened in my life. Like I lost
So
my
cool.
husband in 2005 when my children were 6 and 9. And I would never have gotten through it without the friends who came to support me and help me for many years.
Border Watch for me is a family that I've never had. And I've never had so many friends that accept me as me. And, you know, they kind of collect all the odd ducks and take them in and train them to be fighters or point them in the direction of whatever their interests are. And I love it.
That's awesome. What a nice thing to find.
Yeah, it's
Hitting against a
rare.
fort like this in armored
For me,
reminds me of Kamikaze
everyone
Battle.
there works
So we
together
always
so
do that
well,
after the
and
fight.
it's-
Just trying to find a little bit of shade.
My family.
Yeah, that little bit of shade in the
In a way, this is the
mid-afternoon.
story of two towns. It's the story of Slippery Rock, this little town in western Pennsylvania with beautiful forests and rafting and hiking. And then it's the story of this other town that pops up in this beautiful environment where the world's largest medieval war takes place, where people come from all over the planet to celebrate what it is that they love about themselves and find people who share those passions. So whatever brings you to Slippery Rock, whether it's the nature or medieval combat, you will find something here that is just incredible.
good video.
Actually,
Yeah.
what would you rank that movie?
I was thinking about that as we were watching it. Like on
Me too.
production and flow of the video, S tier, no question. Do I send that to a first, like if I wanted to recruit somebody at SCA? I don't know. I think it's a little long.
Yeah.
I think it has to be like sub
That's fine.
5 minutes, and then this would be number 2, or we'll send both at the same time. Like here's the TLDR. Here's a little bit more elaboration.
I think also it depended on whether you were trying to show someone what Pennsic was versus the SCA. Because like,
Sure.
if someone was like, where are you going? Like what is it? Like where are you going over the summer? Like what is it that you do? Like be like, oh, I'm going here. Like this is what it is.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah,
Okay.
definitely S to A, somewhere in that range. Like super good.
All right, chat. Welcome in, everybody. Hopefully, folks who got to watch that video enjoyed it. The tier list that we're talking about, John and I watched a bunch of introduce your friends and recruit them into the SCA/Pennsic videos, and we kind of ranked them. This one is definitely a high-ranking video. I think it's a nicely done one. Yeah, it very much is that. I think it is exactly that. It's a feel-good piece done by a news station kind of vibe. All right. Chat, is there anybody who wants to watch their footage first? If so, just let me know which ones in this list. If not, we're going to go down this list and watch ones that we want to watch.
Say that it's pretty awesome that Robert, that you were so organized to put all these in a spreadsheet.
Oh,
yeah. Thank you, Robert, for the spreadsheet. This thing is fucking awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, in the future, if you ever have a bunch of videos, you send them my way. I wrote a little program, so it's now like pretty easy to set this up.
That's so cool.
It's
That's
pretty
great.
awesome.
You know, I have a catalog of a bajillion videos on my YouTube. I don't know how to.
Send me a message.
I'll
I'll tell you a format, and if you
Okay.
put like figure out who the people are, I can process them for you.
I appreciate that.
It is hard to find videos on Boomy's channel sometimes because there's so much.
There's a lot, and I have trouble finding videos, and I try to put them in the correct playlist and everything, but still, it's
a lot,
chore. Yeah. All right.
for it.
First fight.
Torse and I'm blanking on this other guy's
Ferruccio?
name.
Is that how you say this?
Ferruccio.
Ferruccio.
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought he was doing real well and has a ton of potential. He's already pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So it's always I was excited to fight him because like it's always exciting to find people like that to be up and comers with a lot of potential.
Yeah, definitely. This looks like it's day 2. These things are winding out.
Day 2 in the Fight Club room.
No, Fight Club room.
All right. Let's see what happened to lose that arm.
Yeah, I wanted to see that too.
Oh, okay. So Taurus decided to redouble that same shot. He just ran it back. I don't even.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead.
he's got this interesting shot. One that Marcus likes to do a lot is he'll bait. You see, so he's a lefty, so his sword's in his left. He'll bait his left shoulder forward, try to get someone to throw there, and then dagger parry across the face to cover the shot, and then just fire. And Torres is doing the same thing, but instead of dagger across the face, he's doing dagger across the torso and throwing high and first.
Yeah, he punches down and across with the dagger.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then high
Can
first, exactly.
Can we see the beginning of this exchange again?
Of course. How far back?
This right here is fine. I just wanted to see how the start of this parry looked. This is a little too far back. Oh, well, that's fine.
So this is good movement. Taurus goes for the one shot. You step back. Catch that parry with a cross step back.
I don't love the cross step back, but it was good.
Same.
Good range.
I was about to say that. You read my fucking mind. My for what it is worth. In this instance, you did what you needed to live, which no shade.
Yes.
Generally, if a offensive fighter is looking for that one shot, I prefer to always take one small step back, keeping my feet uncrossed, and then do a cross step back. And when I do a cross step back, I don't stay in this position and come back forward because this is very compromised. I let my weight travel back. So if I cross step back because they step too close, I can't get far back enough on the first step, the first retreat step. That cross step is definitely shit, I gotta get out. I think being here leaves you compromised. And if I saw that in an opponent, I would then redouble into their lack of mobility because their hips are crossed.
Yeah.
You know, like Taurus basically spotted that because your feet were crossed, I don't think you were leaning forward, you really had nowhere else to go other than back forward. And so he's timing that re-entry into measure.
Did it in the most Taurus-y bullshit
in the most Taurus way.
possible.
And man, Taurus looks very like big.
Yeah.
Like
then you can't exploit his big openings.
His mechanics are way soft right now. He just hasn't fought much rapier recently.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Master Taurus is Atlantean. We kind of came up together. And he did fencing all throughout high school. He's a very good fighter. And when he is in fighting shape, fencing shape, he's easily can go toe-to-toe with the best.
Yeah. I agree. Everything Boomy said.
Yep.
One of the best fencers I know personally.
Yep.
So.
You got to say that. You dropped the champ fight. That's how that works.
I think I've barely gotten the edge over Taurus. Like if you've counted up all our wins. Over
all your fights over the years, yeah.
It's but it's not by a big margin.
Yeah, so he's doing that same cross parry low and riposting against you. But you're doing a good job of trying to cover the high line on your entry step. I think that was pretty nice. But essentially the same thing happened again. And he's punching his dagger. I think his motions are too big right now. As Alessandro judged correctly, his motions are too big right now. But his dagger should have stopped here and stayed and then come back online if need be. Like form that wall. Don't need to punch past. Oh, there's that double. Oh, did he catch a leg? Oh, okay.
But still, like, kind of lucky.
Oh, he didn't defend himself. That was good. Good job on your end to go kill him. Yep. Nice. Yeah, look at Jay back there judging away.
It's a good fight to watch.
Yeah, well, it's a good fight to watch. I didn't get to watch this. So it's fun to be able to come back and...
Yeah, me either.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm the one behind the camera here.
Oh, okay. Dope. That is a Taurus 101 for everybody in the chat. If you fight him, if you allow him to take a step into the measure where he can pick up your sword with his dagger, he will just take the free pot shot at your foot right here. And for him, it costs him essentially nothing as long as in that moment your sword is touching his dagger.
And I would also be careful because he will also sometimes, Taurus will like to throw that and then bait a counter. So like if you like do defend it and throw back, sometimes he'll be ready. He kind of wants that. So
yeah. What do you think, Robert?
So we actually looked through these fights a week or two ago, or I did.
Okay.
So I haven't commented too much. The big thing that I noticed watching all of these was like generally Nate Fruccio's making these big committed movements like you were talking about with that cross step. And that leaves him exposed. Is Dr. Death Will Death?
Yeah, Will Death.
yes.
Why he's skate with Flower Lily, I don't know, but it's funny to me. You're getting trolled by all of Twitch right now. Yeah, you good. I just think it's funny that you have that name. Did you choose that name, or is it some default name? Or are you on someone else's account? Or did Rowan set it up for you? Oh, you're so close.
It definitely seems more like a Rowan name.
It does. Pretty funny.
How to change it.
You can't change it, yeah.
This is giving me that during COVID, that guy who was in a court case that got stuck as a cat on Zoom. You remember that story?
Yeah.
A little bit of that vibes.
Ate with Flower Lily. Yeah, so here Frucci is holding that that kind of cross step, backward step stance. It works here for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, like posting up there, trading back and forth.
Arm for a leg.
Chat, question for you. We had this discussion last night.
We did.
All right, I want to make it about Robert, since a lot of the folks in here have fought Robert and are familiar with his game. My question for you, chat, right now. If you had to either take Robert's sword arm or legs, which would you rather take? Let's say a tournament setting, single pass. Let me know.
Can I offer some supporting evidence?
Sure.
To throw people off. So maybe not the last tournament, but one of the tournaments we had earlier this year, I got my legs taken out. It was bear pit, and I went through like 6 wins after that.
Oh, some data. I like data.
Some data. Yeah.
For those who weren't here last evening, they asked that about me. Other people asked that about me.
Yeah.
And most people want to shut down my legs.
There was not an agreement, though.
There's not an agreement, yeah.
Because
the consensus, the vague consensus that I saw was generally people were saying arms, and people were saying specifically against Boomy legs.
Yes, I think that was
Yeah,
The Vegas
my
has
answer was
a lot.
very Boomy specific.
Yeah, this one should be Robert specific.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Robert, I would take away, if it were me fighting you, I would take away your arm. Your sword
Yeah.
arm. Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
Because I believe I can keep up with you with my legs. I don't feel like that is a particularly like lopsided match to where I need to shut that down. However,
Yeah.
I don't want to have your single blade on your main hand touch mine. Never. You're just better at controlling my blade with your blade. And so if that weapon of yours disappears, it shuts down a big chunk of your game and your defense.
Right.
You're very good with it.
I think I agree with Boomy on this one.
I do too.
You had to fight yourself.
Just in the me versus Boomy matchup,
Oh,
like
me versus
I would shut down Boomy's legs, but I don't think Boomy has to worry about my legs.
Yeah, I think that's also how I would choose if I was in your position in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that step there from Torse. I don't like it all. Like that.
The entry step.
That little, it's the weird side step he does here. Like after this, like that's fine. That's
Yeah,
fine. And
that-
then this
yep,
is like
that's
that's
sloppy.
squaring up.
Yep.
I think that's a little bit of rusty sloppiness because
Yep.
he's not putting.
That's sloppy footwork and honestly, probably started with sloppy. Like
Boomy, pause it here.
Yep.
There's something I want to get your thoughts on.
Yes.
You might have to move your camera. So Taurus does this thing with his back foot, where while he's lunging, he kind of throws out his back leg. Right, you can see it right here, where his weight is almost in the side of his foot. Now this came up
Yeah,
as
that
we
right
were
there. Yeah, okay, I see what you mean. Yep.
right there. Yeah, this came up as we were looking at this video because this is something that Ferruccio specifically used to do a lot, and a bunch of people told him to stop doing it for like safety reasons, saying that putting weight through your leg like that is detrimental long term to fighting. Do you think, as you know, I know you've got a medical background, do you think that that's true?
The body is awesome and it will adapt to stressors, assuming it doesn't break to those stressors. So in some ways, you can very much adapt to that and that be your normal thing. I would assert a couple of things. One, right here, even though it looks like his leg is pretty sideways and all the stress is on the inside of his knee up to his adductors, Taurus is putting essentially no weight on the back leg. All that forward force is landing right here, kind of on the back end, hopefully, of his front foot. So even here, right, even as he's landing, this whole time, there's basically no weight on that. If he was putting back weight, I think it would be bad because you're putting it on a much weaker part of your leg as opposed to having your leg a little bit more toe forward. And so you have, honestly, it's if you can, if you guys can picture a runner, like a sprinter on a running block, their back foot is way more toe forward. Like this back toe is pointing this way toward the opponent a lot more so. It's not fully, but it's most of the way there. That allows you, like kinetically, the best explosive forward in terms of like biomechanics. So
I will add that is how modern fencers lunge. Like go watch Olympic epee or saber, or I don't know about saber, but epee or foil fencing. If you watch them lunge, they will drag their back foot along the side like that.
Yep. Yeah, Brian also said as much just now.
So I think that not to say that everything that modern fencers are doing is perfect, but that is a much more fleshed out, like there's more science and like data behind what they're doing than what we're doing, right? Because it's like there's
also,
their stakes are higher, right, for them, and so
is
being
money.
a professional or semi-professional sport. So I tend to look for like what professional athletes do is somewhat, you can kind of use it as somewhat of a gauge to like be like, well, does this have issues? Like they might know.
Yeah, agreed. There's a lot more money there.
Yeah.
To chat, for those of you who don't know Taurus's background, I've said it earlier, but Taurus's background is in strip fencing. That's what he grew up doing in his high school years. They trained together in college. Well, I know he did high school. I don't know how much he did in college, like what period.
Yeah.
And at some point he transitioned over to SCA.
SCA.
Yep.
Yeah, but he came in with a lot of skill from that. So.
Yeah, he was already good coming in, which is a lot of folks. More for Ferruccio. Yes. Chat, if anyone wants to watch, if you want to watch a video of yours, speak up, please. We will not watch all of the videos, but we'll watch anyone who requests theirs. All right, Fruccio versus Rowan. I haven't watched hardly any of these.
I have gone over a little bit, not too much.
Okay. It's cool. It's fun. It's fun to watch new footage. Axio, well, welcome. We do this usually at least once a week. We did one last night. I typically do stream on Thursday evenings for Throwdown Thursdays, but it really sort of depends on what we wanted, well, really what I want to do in the course of the week and what I have time to do. That's the honest answer.
This week is a special week where we're doing 3.
Yeah, 3 in a row is very uncommon. Yep.
Yeah, tomorrow we're doing another tournament mindset discussion.
Oh yeah,
Rowan and
I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, chat for those who haven't, who don't know. Tomorrow evening, early evening. We're doing a winner's mindset. It's going to be. Hello, Joe. Thank you. Winner's mindset stream, talking about the sports psychology side of things. I'm excited for it. All right. How did that end up? What happened?
We have more data on this arm discussion.
I know, right? I wanted to see how Rowan took. Okay.
Is it cross parry into an arm? Or the hand?
Yeah, it's a hand.
I think, right?
Yeah, it's that foot feint again.
I wish I could see Rowan's back foot in this. That's what
Yeah,
we've been working on her back foot placement on her lunge recently, and so, but you can't see it's behind this other guy.
John, is Rowan one of your mod students?
Yes. Rowan was my brother and I shared that for White Scarf when she lived here before the mod existed, and then she moved to the east. But yes, she's my student. The short answer. and technically still my brother's. My brother's not very active, so mostly just mine.
Gotcha.
And then she has some people in the east that help her too. But I taught her defense. Essentially pretty we started out learning from the same people, and then she basically fights my style. So.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Yeah, which is pretty obvious, honestly. She's out of all people I've taught, she fights the most similar to me.
Yeah.
You can see a side by side image right here, actually.
Right.
That's pretty funny, honestly. Seeing both of you do what I think of as the John.
The John guard.
Oh, kind of mid guard. On
Which is
CR
not
and A-frame.
It's not that revolutionary from a lot of what other people were doing in Onstura at the time I was learning, but it's kind of my own spin on it, I guess.
What modifications have you made to it? Like, what makes it your
own? We put a lot of emphasis on dagger mechanics, and then we really emphasize keeping the shoulders and hips square to keep both hands in play, which is, if you actually look at, it's very not that dissimilar to a lot of what the Tigers are doing. We just keep the blade high rather than low, and the dagger is a little more forward and not upright. And then I think the actual Onsturan style when I started the sword was a little more forward, kind of like where I am right now in my single sword guard, but flat. So kind of like an epee guard, right? That was kind of like the Onsturan guard was actually elbow tucked to your body and blade forward, and then we pulled the hand back, which has become more prevalent.
Yeah, I see that.
In Onsturan now. I think partially because of the success my brother and I have had But there were people doing it before we did it. It's not to take credit,
Mm-hmm.
but I think it became a little more popular because of that.
All right. It was Ferruccio, right? That was the. Did I get that name correct?
Yep.
Right here is a common example of this is something that everybody struggles with, myself included. No one is immune to this. So two things. One, she throws low, and you take a step back. What I dislike is that you move your front foot and then your back foot. In fencing time, I think that's very slow, and it's better to push off your front foot to move your back foot and stay square, if that makes sense, as opposed to getting this narrow stance and then moving your back foot. That's one thing. But the other thing I wanted to point out is right here. Everybody's oh shit response is to stand more upright and lean back. Like that is the most normal thing. It's like a human reaction. And I think as fencers, especially when you look at the movements of high-end experienced fencers in a competitive setting, they try to generally train that motion out of them, and they step back as opposed to lean back. There are some people who can matrix their way out of a lot of shots, and it's their habit. But I think there's like a ceiling that you can use that, in which you can use that. Because when you're leaned so far back, it's very hard to then attack because your weight is so far off of your hips behind you. So that is something I noticed in this motion.
As a person who has matrixed out of shots, I would 100% agree with you. There's a ceiling to which that's useful.
And I say that as like I don't think any one moment of that is bad. That should be like a last resort thing compared to just moving your feet well.
Yeah, you do what you need to do to not get hit in the moment, but you just try to train yourself to that not being like the plan A or even plan B really.
Right, exactly. That is shit, I'm out of options.
But sometimes you need like plan X.
Yep.
You know?
See, this sequence, you're moving your feet way better because you're acknowledging the threat. As she moves in measure, you're moving back in measure. The footwork is still something I think you can tighten up, which is instead of auto cross step right here, this is kind of the John hop, sort of. It's like a replacement step.
It could be a better replacement step.
Yeah, it's not quite the way you execute it. The other thing is your weight lands very forward. Like it's I'm ready to re-attack kind of posture, as opposed to square in case you need to go back again. If you look at Rowan, their posture when being pressed, they're pushing their hips back. They're doing this replacement step. This is the kind of a John replacement step as well, but landing very square over their hips. That's the biggest thing. So ready to move forward or move back again, as is necessary.
And if you notice, Rowan really their feet have never crossed, right? Like when they're fighting, like it's retreat, lunge, whatever, but generally their right foot is always in front of their left foot. So they're always in their stance. They always know where they are, and they're in a good structural position.
Do you think that there's value in passing steps generally at high level fighting?
Yes, but it very situational.
Very situational.
Okay.
Forward or back?
Like a 90.
Like a retreat passing or a advanced passing?
Either, really. Because John was talking about feet not crossing.
I don't think I ever advance cross step.
Okay.
I think there's definitely situational times where a cross step is an advance can be useful as an attack, but it has to be set up right. And I would mostly tell people to get rid of cross stepping in their fight and then work it in the correct times rather than have it as the default. It needs to always be situational. But I think there's situations. And actually, if we watch some of my fights, we'll see some times where I do cross
step forward. Yeah. Okay, I like that.
In that fight we were just watching, you cross step to attack with the dagger, which I think is a perfect situation to do it.
Yeah, surely if you're going to close the dagger range, you might as well. Like if I have if my opponent only has a buckler or a defensive secondary, or they're single and I have sword and dagger, if I'm going to dagger rush them, yeah, I'm going to cross step. Definitely, that's a good time to do it. But even for a kill with the sword, there are still sometimes I cross step. But it's still not definitely not my default attack. It's like
I guess dagger range closing, it becomes a cross step. When I'm thinking about my own movements in video form. All right, there was a request from Count Eckhart. And we're going to watch this video. This is Rowan and Eckhart. Ooh. What happened? Was that a too hard a hit?
It looks like.
I don't love this. The extraneous motions. But it definitely caused a freeze here. Yeah, that's a hard hit.
Yeah. Oh, right in the face.
Yeah, it kind of had like a little bit of a hook because it looks like you were like ducking your head, like turning your head out of the shot. Eckhart, some of the things I think you would yield a lot of results for you is just practicing always taking that step back when an opponent aggressively steps forward, as opposed to trying to catch and counter. Mostly because at a certain caliber of fighter, catch and counter just no longer becomes as reasonable. There's like a ceiling for that as well.
A lot of this fight, Eckhart's foot is turned in a little bit, which is going to throw off the accuracy and range of the lunge a little bit.
That's a good. Okay, chat. This is one that I've heard a lot and would love your general thoughts. People talk about how much does the toe need to be pointed at the opponent versus how much is it okay to be pointed inward. And I've heard a lot of different opinions on like people generally agree that it's good to ideally do that, but how important is it in function? Like, what's the weight of that?
So
I don't have a great answer.
I do think it's less important than a lot of people say. I don't think it's as damaging to your knee as people say either, because there's a lot of other sports where you move laterally when there's a lot of weight going with your foot, your toe not pointed in the direction your weight is going.
Yep.
But I do think it doesn't seem like, to me it seems like if my toe and my toe, knee, and my hand are all lined up, I feel like my accuracy is better than if they're not. But I don't know. It could be less important than I think, because it's just how I've always done it and been told to do it.
So you, in particular, feel like you suffer from accuracy loss?
Yeah, and definitely range as well.
Robert, any thoughts?
I'm literally blocking it out right now to see what it feels like.
Oh, that's funny.
I think what John said is right on. That like I've always heard like, oh, you'll destroy your knees. Like you have to keep your foot pointed at the direction you're lunging. But like what John said is right on. That like, in basketball and literally any sport where you do cuts, right? You're putting a lot of weight into your foot at that side angle, and like they're fine, right? Soccer, football, all these sports.
Yeah, like a defensive slide in basketball. Like if you're playing defense, you're going pretty fast left and right, and your toes are not pointed the direction you're going. So,
Brian says, what modern sports fencing is about landing from a lunge, that the toe is pointing forward is important.
At a steep angle, yeah. That's what I was just considering.
Yeah, so I guess it really does depend on how much impact you're putting onto that front foot because the step's not going to really matter, but a like jumping deep lunge might really matter a lot more in terms of long-term impact.
I think if you're ever doing like a knees over toes lunge, absolutely foot should be pointed forward. But if you're just kind of doing a medium step where your knee's not really passing your toes, I think it's probably fine.
No. The ideal is definitely to have it in line. That is like perfect world kind of thing. And then most of it has to do with like hip to knee to ankle and foot alignment, which is a fairly common issue if your internal external hip rotation or something has tightness in one direction or another, asymmetry.
Like weakness in the external rotators.
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of thing.
Yep.
I guess one thing I'm curious about is, do you think that there are any advantages to keeping the foot rotated in like that?
That's a good question, actually.
That's a good question.
I can't think of any, but
I can't think of any either. I think it is only a negative, like at best a neutral, at worst a negative, and the question becomes how much of a negative.
Right.
Because you could have better body mechanics if you were straight in line.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a question I think about. I recently became the local barony marshal, so I'm in the position of teaching newbies, um, and it's something that I've just parroted to people because it's what I've been taught my whole fencing career, and I've been thinking about it a bit recently. Of like, is this a good thing to be passing on? Is it something that I shouldn't worry about?
I like this passing step right here that Eckhart throws. And
Yeah,
and
this is
that's a fast cross step. That's that Shiv background. And Rowan getting out of dodge is pretty good. It's very impressive. Just pure like, shit, void. They could have brought their dagger more into play, but it is not paired. It's not like Taurus.
Yeah.
It pairs that cross parry with the void out.
It's hard to not think you still need your dagger over on that side to guard against the sword, even though the sword is not in play anymore. Like the reaction, there's a delay where you're like, my dagger still needs to be on this side of me.
I like Eckhart's follow. He just continues to go, which is very.
He's going.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. That is good habits for like that's a good fighter habit.
Right, he's taken advantage of Rowan being off tempo there.
Yeah,
like he's
and
he
put on
used
her
that
back foot.
tempo and
Yep.
yeah.
Agreed. All right.
I have a couple of my fights that I would love to go through.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do that.
Also, chat, if you want to see your fights, let us know. We will generally watch them.
I want to look at my fights with Alex, Celestria, and with Montana.
Okay.
I haven't gotten a chance to review those yet.
Let's watch the one with Celestria, and then I'll pull up another Eckhart one after that. Give everybody at least 2 if we have it. Yeah, you are very in line. Like your mechanics are very pretty, in terms of like hip and body mechanics.
Yeah.
Right, this is what we're talking about compared to Taurus. We were talking about this earlier. He's not. It's not very sideways. It's forward. And for all those who are impressed by that spreadsheet, thank Robert. That is, I did nothing. I just opened up that spreadsheet. So thank you for doing the work of sorting.
You're very welcome.
If anyone in chat wants access to it, we can just message one of us and we'll send it to you.
Yep. Yeah. Publicly shared.
Yeah, it's publicly shared.
It's very cool. Can we see that sequence again real quick?
Yeah, of course. You want it 50?
Sure, yeah. Let's see.
These are 2 genuinely fast humans.
Yeah, it's true. Very twitchy.
Yep. That's a good parry. Pretty good riposte. Yeah. Oh. Good.
Way too close right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, good parries on both sides, I think.
Yep, agreed. I think Alex forgot to bring her dagger. She was following the sword really well with the dagger until this moment. It looked like she got into offense brain.
Yeah, her dagger came out back.
Yeah, she's thinking about her sword in this moment. Like you can see it. Oh, and then the dagger just re-triggered just now.
Now, I have a question for you two. So, clearly it didn't work out in this situation. Right here, maybe like 10 seconds back, 5 seconds back in the fight, I switched to refused. And I noticed myself doing that at swim, basically like when I wasn't sure what to do. Yeah, whenever I was fighting someone and they were, like I was having trouble getting into measure, they were backing up too quickly or catching my timing too well. And I was just mixing things up without a lot of purpose. So my question to you is, do you think that there is really any situation where you would take a refused guard as a default?
John?
No. I think that, being very frank, I really don't think that refuse guard has a lot of utility, especially at the higher level. Like, there's a cap on it. It's just you lose so much range. Like, I can't, and one of the things I think about is, like, I can't really think of an example of a high-end fighter, like someone, like, really far into a high-level tournament fighting refused and winning a lot with it. Like, it kind of caps out, like, at an upper mid-level. I mean, there's, like...
Who's the exception?
I was going to say there's one exception, but it's not even really an exception.
I think there's one exception. and
What's
that
the
is
exception?
Farmer Connor.
That's what I was thinking but also Connor didn't fight refuse the whole time, and he only did it sometimes. And I think the more serious he was,
The more he
he would
brought
be
his
not
main
in
blade forward,
refused.
yeah, I agree.
But
That's Master Connor from Atlantia, Dam Connor.
Correct.
yes.
Yeah.
He now like has a farm with animals and stuff. We call him Farmer Connor.
Oh, farmer.
Yeah.
Um,
Retired out of sword fighting.
Connor is also like 6'3" and really like lanky and
Yeah.
flexible.
He was
So
super
like
Gumby.
he made things work that normal like
Nice
90% of the rest of us can't. Just doesn't work, right? Like,
That's a great dude. What a pretty
that's
angle.
a really good hand pick. Yeah.
That's a great angle because you saw that she was parrying your sword with the dagger, and you took advantage of just being her hand just being slightly inside, and you stepped just slightly outside, and your hand went just slightly outside more, which created just enough. It's very pretty. Like the whole thing. I'm like, oh, to get a bend on the sword at that angle is really good.
Yeah. I think I tried that shot on Celestia at Aedult Swim, and I could not get it. So
I'll take it. That was one of the few things I was able to get working on you, John, is those hand shots.
yeah, I agree.
You say it like there's a not going to happen next time.
Well, my hand. Well, yes, obviously that's how I always think. But my hand dagger defense was just kind of off my whole trip. So that's like what I do.
Actually, what do you mean by true Capaferro? Could you elaborate? Dude,
also,
Death,
you didn't give your opinion on. You didn't give your opinion on the.
Refused? Oh, I fight refused. Basically, when I lose my main hand and I have to fight with my left, and I need to get a little extra distance. That's the only.
Do you fight refused with? You fight refused single.
Oh, not refused. Like refused in the sense that my feet are switched specifically.
Yeah.
So you're not fighting. You're not fighting.
I'm
your
not really
sword
fighting
and hand.
refused ever. Like where the sword comes back.
That's
I fight more refused. Like it's just not extended the way like Destreza would be.
But you're not fighting your. What we're talking about, you're not fighting your off foot forward.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Is the feet specifically?
I will only ever do that if I lose my hand and I want to try getting a little extra range. That's it.
Interesting.
Because
why in that circumstance?
Because if I have to use my left hand with my main blade, it is now auto refused if I fight in my normal stance with my feet.
Okay.
And so I just switch literally just to gain a little extra reach.
So you're saying you're staying when you're fighting left-handed, you're staying right foot forward?
Oh no, that's the only time I will sometimes switch and I'll sometimes not. It kind of depends. But that's the only time that mix ever happens. But if I have my right hand, I will never switch my feet.
So essentially, you don't ever fight.
Not in any like meaningful way.
Yeah. Okay.
It is only in the loss of hand.
So we're pretty much in agreement.
Yep.
Yeah. That was kind of what I settled on, especially when I realized I was doing it when I had no reason to do it. I was like, I shrug, this might work.
Was it automatic?
Yeah, it's not something that I'm consciously choosing to do.
Okay. You're just in the fight.
In the fight I was seeing.
Well, I would definitely never do anything for that reason. It's like.
Yeah, right.
But I would probably just work it out. Like I don't think it's getting you much. Especially your form is very good and pretty tight. So like I think you should just stay in your normal guard because it is pretty good.
Yeah.
So like don't mess with a thing that's good.
Yeah.
Nice again there, dude.
Yeah. Your main blade work in general accuracy is super good.
Yeah. So don't make that less good by giving yourself less range for no reason.
Yeah. Right. Isn't Capaferro a very refused style? It is not.
It's back-weighted.
It's back-weighted.
Yeah,
yep.
it's
The difference being that like you're putting, if you imagine front foot and back foot and percentage of body weight distributed between the two, instead of 50-50, which is what I would describe these two fighters are doing. It's more like 70-30, roughly.
Yeah.
70-30 back-weighted?
Yeah. For a specific Capaferro.
Yeah. To be clear, when we're talking about refused, we mean your non-sword foot is the lead foot.
Yes.
That's what we mean by refused. Like, Robert's sword is pretty refused here. Like, he's not super extended, right? but and Alex is fairly refused as well in their sword, but not their feet. Their feet are both. Their sword foot is both leading right now.
Yeah, that is a good clarification.
Yep.
I actually think that having your blade pretty far back is actually better than having it forward, just statically, because people can't mess with it, and then you can choose when you extend it out. But I think your sword foot should always be the lead foot.
Do you think that that's still true fighting single? I ask.
No.
The sword extension.
I don't think it is as true. I think I will extend my sword more out single because you need a little more blade presence because you don't have the dagger counts as the defense, acts as defense in sword and dagger, and so you're kind of using that to make up for the fact that by pulling your sword back it is covering less. But in single swords, they don't have a dagger to fuck with your sword as much, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So, yes, I agree with that. That is not as true in single.
Nice set. Nice set.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. I think we went 50-50 in my wins and losses.
In your count. I appreciate your count.
Yeah.
I like that you gather data.
I can't. I can kind of get an estimation of the win and loss, but
a couple of mine were estimates, especially some of my fights against you, John, were definitely estimated. I have a question for both of you based on that set of fights.
Yeah.
So against Alex, Celestria, and against Rowan and Boomy and you, John, I found myself struggling to get into measure. Like I would throw a shot and y'all would be backing up as I was throwing the shot. And I found myself getting frustrated with that. And that's some of the time that's why I was switching to refuse, because I was like, well, maybe I can pull a fast one on them and launch a big step, right? So question is, how would you recommend gaining large amounts of measure in that sort of situation where your opponent is refusing to, stand still while you hit them, right?
So it's a little tricky in pickup setting where there's not defined edges and we're trying to be nice and not run each other in other fights or walls and stuff, right? In a tournament, I literally will try to cut off the field and put someone in a corner, but then not push them so hard that they run into the ropes or the edge of the list field or whatever, but pressure them into that space. And then sometimes I'll literally just make the marshals do their jobs, right? But if they keep running into the ropes, I'll just keep running them there, and the marshals will just keep calling a hold. And so I use that because especially if I'm fighting Boomy's a great example, right? Because he's skittish. So you kind of have to sometimes literally take angular steps to kind of herd him into the corner.
Yeah, that's what JG is trying to do here.
Yeah. And I would actually think that I think Master Dominic from originally from Atlantia, I think he's actually probably the best at doing that, as far as the controlling the field space.
Yeah, he definitely just crowds you with pressure.
Yeah.
Kind of herding you into that corner.
Yeah. The other thing is you can try to do is make your body language a little less aggressive if you can try to and I'm bad at this because I'm very aggressive, but try to provoke them to attack you, so little probing shots.
Yeah.
Try to get them to initiate and then counter their attack rather than always wanting to be the first to go, because they will eventually they'll if they keep running away and you get frustrated. But see if you can make them come to you a little bit by being a little less aggressive,
Take
a
it
little
easy,
probe.
Axie.
Yeah. But I don't know if Boomy has anything to add to that.
So, Robert, if you can see my screen, in this fight, I just want to explain exactly what I prefer to do, which is two main things. One is to change the amount of step I'm taking. So if I have a sequence like this where I'm hunting somebody, I will try to change up the penetration step, the entry step into measure will vary. So sometimes it'll be a smaller step, sometimes it'll be a larger step, sometimes it'll be small into a large step to try to deceive in measure, if that makes sense. So this is this series of footwork. I'm staying very square over my hips the whole time. There's not really a committed lunge. I'm always looking to see if they don't move well with their feet, see if I can steal something in the meantime. Like you see how all those entry steps, they'll vary a little in distance. If I don't get what I want, then I will get out.
Yeah, you're never overcommitted here.
Yep. But I stay very square because I want to be able to then take a deceivingly large step forward before I actually attack to somebody who is very skittish. Someone like, honestly, like John is, for me to hit him, I have to really deceive a lot because he's very prepared to counter most other things. And
are you telling John skittish as well?
He keeps measure well. I wouldn't say skittish. Skittish is actually a bad way to phrase it to me because I think it is. Like specifically, he just like anyone who keeps measure very well, like very precise with their measure.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to point out is, oh, yeah, he just lets me get way too close.
Yeah, he feels safe in measure.
Yeah, this is one where the deception happens because we're within striking distance, but the setup is going to be bring blade up to get their reaction, to elicit the reaction that I know they're going to do, that high parry with the outside blade. And then this small step is to see, do I have everything I want? And if I do, it's an immediate launch. It is not a delayed thing.
What do you mean by see if you have everything you want?
As in, did I get the reaction that I want? Right here. So if their blade is moving up and I've disengaging low, and my blade is now free to go where I want it to go, then I will continue through the attack right here.
So you're kind of, so that step is like as far as you can go without overcommitting.
Correct. Right here. This moment, I still have a chance to eject, and that's what I was talking about when I say like staying squared over your hips and having that option. Yeah. Where I think that a lot of people will take the first lunge and not necessarily take the entry steps into measure. So right here, I have a moment where I'm like, okay, I've deceived you, and I feel comfortable going. Now I actually launch, like a for real launch. But yeah, changing your steps. You with as good as your feet are, as fast as your feet are, you can absolutely just practice changing the measure to your will, like bending it to your will in a practice scenario. Like take steady steps and then change how you step.
It's a really good way of putting it, actually.
Just practice it. You don't need any blade work to pair with it necessarily. Your win condition is, oh, did I walk up to where I can like almost touch you, your guard now with my dagger or whatever. Right?
Yeah, I also just add like it's like just try to learn to be patient, right? Like you say like I want this measure, and I'm gonna repeat this, like I'm gonna work on like in and out until I get to the measure I want, and eventually I'm gonna get it because eventually they're gonna make a mistake and I'm gonna get to where I stand where I want to stand.
There's an element of patience there. That's true.
And just kind of grind them down on that, like there's no shot clock in fight in like what we're doing, right? You have all the time in the world.
Well, that's a long set.
7 minutes.
Yeah, 7 minutes. Good.
Yeah, we went for a long time.
7 minutes, like normal set.
It's on the long end. Yeah.
At least compared to what we were watching.
That's true.
How's that?
Yeah.
That's what I was measuring.
Alex and I just did like 4.
That's a good cross parry.
Leg, it looks like. Or maybe a kill in the groin.
Does it cut across here? Is that what happened? I can't tell.
Hard to see.
Yeah, it's hard to see. Like it's like upper thigh.
Yeah, it looks like leg, I guess.
Is this Saturday?
This is Saturday.
Ah.
Yeah, I fought Rowan and Montana and Taurus Saturday. I think those are the ones I have videos of at least.
MT is a good fight.
He was a blast to fight. Yeah. Really, really good.
Come a long way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, the sadness.
Yeah, we got here and I was like, okay, we're doing this.
Yeah. Once that happens, everything that happens after that, I think is just for the meme.
A lot of times in a tournament setting, we'll ask if people just like want to reset at that point. It's like, hey, do you just want to like double yield and like reset?
I did that at Emir when I took someone else's leg. Tiberius. I was like, hey, do you want a handshake, stand up? And he agreed, which I thought was nice. Because at that point, it's not fencing; it's just quick draw with your hands.
Right.
Yeah, you would think I would want that, but I don't like it.
Did you catch him on that? I can't tell. Did you
Can
walk
we
into
see
your
that?
plan?
Okay,
Yeah.
let's slow mo.
Yeah, that was
Not
too
too bad.
fast. All right. Going 50.
You know, remember there's hotkeys for me.
I'm should. But I'm also just unaware. Don't think about it until the moment.
Yeah.
I got the frame by frame down.
Yeah, you do. You were good at that. Yeah. You do that.
Everything else. And pausing and starting, I guess.
How did he? Hold on. I want to see. MP had a great parry there, and how did Robert get out of that?
This parry right here.
There, yeah.
Yep, you had a good parry
And Robert had a
downward.
good parry.
So
Down.
you both locked up.
Yeah, we're just locked on each other's sword
He didn't bring
daggers.
his hand forward quick enough, I think.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't double up here and just hit me in the chest.
Oh, look at that. Did you? It looks like you hit him. You took your main blade across to stop his riposte.
Yeah. I think if MT had done a little better, he could have kept that parry to be controlling
Yeah.
the sword. I think he kind of messed up to let you out.
Agreed.
I think he also waited a beat before throwing his.
This is a chat. Let me give you a little bit about what makes John angry. This makes John angry.
This is like on the edge of okay.
Where he wants your dagger to be forward and defending.
Yeah.
This, in this case,
It's better than
MT's
like
left side.
behind his back. Like this is actually an improvement. Like this is not.
Not the worst, not the most egregious, but
it's not the worst.
But I can't tell you how many times I've heard John be like, "Put your dagger forward. What are you doing?"
Yeah,
Defend
that's
yourself.
probably my most common piece of advice.
Honestly, if he had his dagger forward, he would have stopped your stopped your shot.
Yeah, true.
Right. Chad, if you watch this through, because the dagger is back, MT has to rush the dagger forward to try to intercept the shot.
Well, I also don't think that MT needed that long of a lunge in that situation. I think he could have done a smaller step and kept his dagger more forward and been in a better spot.
Yeah, a little bit more outside with the dagger as well. The dagger was very, it went in a forward line toward Robert as opposed to a little bit more to the outside.
Yes. And it was a good, Robert did a good job of throwing that shot over the dagger because it was too flat.
Yep, you saw it and then took advantage of that by flipping it
More
on.
is, one of my students would say, more pizza, less french fry.
Robert, I want to be a little to what we're talking about. So you're talking about how do I enter into people who have good measure, someone like MT who has good measure, is willing to step out. Right here, he commits to you. You are squared up. Instead of making this the motion, which is the riposte right away, I think you will gain a ton of value in this moment to just practice pushing off this back foot, stepping forward. Just a step.
Yeah.
That's the entry step that you want. Right? You could do whatever you want with your sword. It doesn't matter because you have his sword locked out. You take a step here, just a small one, put your front foot here, right, pushing off that, and then act with your sword.
Also, keep your dagger forward.
Hey, it's better than that
that's
picture of
actually
me
true.
fighting. Do you remember the one I'm talking about? Me fighting Trap.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like if you had done the step Boomy described with a dagger forward push, you would have had control of his sword and then be in a great spot. Like you probably would have gotten him there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Learning how to capitalize on the gift in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like at the higher levels of fencing, it's like 2 big advances to get in, right? Because the other person's definitely going to respond.
Yes.
A retreat.
Or maybe a little advance and then a big one. Like, but it's definitely two.
Yeah. 2 separate advances.
Yes.
Yeah.
Robert.
If you go look and you break down most high-level fighters' lunges, they're doing a small step and then a lunge every time, almost every time.
I noticed that too. I was watching some fights of you and Boomy and Torataka. Literally, I shouted to Barbara, my partner, like, it's the same damn thing every time.
Are you asking why Robert was refused during this dagger throw? Or oh, I see. I refused. See if we can find it.
Yeah, I don't know where I was refused in these sets.
I don't know.
You go to left foot forward here for there's a period of time.
Do you know where it is? In the.
I think it's a little more forward from this.
I mean, the answer to the question is shrug.
Right
I don't know.
Yeah, right here, right there. You're there, right?
Oh yeah, you do a
Yeah,
cross step.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, I think it's a let's see what happens. I might be able to pull a fast one on them measure-wise, but like you said, John, I don't think it is getting me a lot.
Yeah, you creep back into your standard guard.
And it puts me in an awkward position here, right? I've taken that step forward, and now MT's got the tempo. I make it out, but
yeah, it looked like you got caught a little closer than you wanted because you took as you turn your feet to normal, you end up being a little closer than I think you thought you were.
Yep.
And it works out, but it looked a little.
The calm in which you stepped in, like you knew you had sword to sword contact, and you stepped in and daggered, is the kind of calm. If you can develop that in the other direction, you pick up with your dagger, step in with your sword.
Gain that control.
Yep, just knowing you have control.
Right.
Can we see that lunge though?
It
looked
pretty
good, but I want to see it. I want to see the mechanics of it.
Oh, it's so close. Look at that straight
I think this
blade.
is actually a really good lunge.
That's a great lunge. It's
back
very pretty.
foot's a little high. It could be a little lower, but other than that, good extension. Your dagger's forward.
Yeah, everything about it is pretty. I think this is one where, to be honest, I think if you kept because you drop so much level, that triggers the oh shit response from your opponent.
Dropping down.
Yeah, if you like a cat ready to pounce, like you can feel that attack energy. If you stayed in this all the time, which is just a little bit lower all the time, so people can't tell, which is what I strive to do. I think that hides when you're actually going to pounce. Otherwise, that lowering is just a big tell of like.
I don't think you need to be that low, but I think generally, if you bend your knees a little more in your guard, I think that would make a little bit of that would be an improvement. I think I was kind of thinking that earlier. I meant to mention that actually. Like from right here, I think if you were just a little lower, you would have a little more burst.
Stored kinetic energy and all that.
Yeah, be more explosive.
Not that you're not explosive. You're already very explosive.
Yeah, but like look, MT's a little lower in his stance, right? Like
just a little bit. Yep. You're talking about like an inch or two different. He's slightly shorter than you, even though like I think he's actually taller than you.
He's a couple inches taller than me.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so you were talking. He's putting himself like 1 inch shorter than you, or something like that in this.
But if you look at his back leg, there's a lot of energy here, right? Just waiting to go.
Yeah, I would take this moment out of your fights if you can. Like drill this moment where right here, this is your casual. Like you could see it, you could read the posture. I would just take that entirely out of your fight when they are within measure, even if it's like one step and then can hit you, because that's a vulnerability that someone will try to exploit.
Yeah, like only do that outside of measure.
Yeah, only that like way outside of measure.
Yeah. That's something I took away from a lot of fights this weekend, or that Aedult Swim weekend, is watching the videos. I was way too comfortable in measure, and I got popped for it many times.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Well, that's good then, right? Like that's a good lesson.
Yep, that's learning what you can.
That's why we go to Aedult Swim for things like that.
One of the biggest things is also understanding what caliber of person can punish you for what distance.
Yeah. Well, and also, I don't fight against people taller than me who have more reach than me often.
Right.
Like Boomy, you and Montana are probably the most taller than me people that I fought that weekend. But I just don't see it often.
The handshake. I guess we're not going to parry. We're just going to kill each other. Ooh, nice snipe. Your hand picks are very pretty.
Yeah, agreed.
And you set them up well.
I do a lot of point control drills. Makes them doable.
I remember when I used to do that.
Long time ago.
But we probably never did that.
Me?
Yeah.
Not a once.
Rumi's just built different.
Built different.
I used the targets of my opponents as my point control practice.
It's fine. My brother never really did it either.
Really? Interesting.
Like every now and then, if I was doing it, he'd be like, "Oh, look, that's like a fun idea." Let's point control." But, like,
He pokes
most
around
of the
a little
time,
bit.
he was just like Boom. He just learned it through doing.
Through fighting. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was me for a long time.
That's a very pretty cross parry riposte for you. Aww. MT tried that entry step and just got too close, and you picked up the parry.
One thing I remember from these fights is I could kind of tell when he wanted to send it. Like when he wanted to throw a big lunge. I could feel it in his body language. And so I started trying to trigger that.
Commit him to full send.
Yeah.
You know.
That makes sense, actually. Yeah.
That, I think, this is chat. This is something that I fully believe. There's a certain level of fencing, certainly, of this context of fighting, where the game no longer becomes mechanics. Right? Everyone has decent mechanics or solid mechanics, solid measure. It is about lying to your opponent, telling them a story and trying to sell them to believe it so that you can exploit their expectations.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was going to say that, like, at a lower level, it's almost all about mechanics.
Yeah. Yep.
That was a little hoppy lunge.
Yeah. Ooh, I want to see your footwork. That was so fast. All right, so right here, he throws at your leg. You push off the front. Yeah. Ooh, that's very fast.
Mm-hmm.
The way you move right here very much reminds me of Snoopy, specifically.
Yeah?
Like the cartoon character, yeah. He does like the leg shuffle, but it's a little more upright.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Like,
literally just this moment.
I was kind of thinking of the Ali shuffle, which is something Muhammad Ali would do.
Same idea, yeah. They're just
Same
very
idea.
light, very quick.
Yeah.
Your feet are
a little more
are
complimentary
lightning.
than the Snoopy comparison. But
Oh, that wasn't meant to be insultive. I thought it was
joking. No, you're not wrong.
I just
It
what popped in
does
my
look
head.
so.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Would you sleep with me?
I'll say this is pretty. He caught him on the way in.
Mm-hmm.
Good. That looks like a good stiff shot.
My sword is so bendy, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, you did a good job of also, as you landed, you placed. You didn't punch.
Yeah.
Like you knew you
So
had
like
everything
pushing
you
a
wanted.
flat.
Yeah, exactly. You're pushing
Yeah.
downward.
Yeah.
Very intentionally. Like, there's almost no energy going forward. It's all going
like
to your blade.
Dagger parry is very clean too here.
Yep. Clean dagger parry. Everything's locked out.
Very safe.
Yep.
Yeah.
The downside is, if I have to be like judgy as possible, always defending yourself for the afterblow for a HEMA context.
Yeah, totally.
Because he had an opening straight to your face for that afterblow.
Even in SCA context, someone doesn't call the shot. You never know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that is one of the hardest things to train. Just
It is.
Yeah.
period.
I
Very
wanna-
few people do it at all.
I want to run an afterglow tournament here, potentially for our next cut and thrust champs.
That'd be cool.
They've done it at the C&T tourney at Penzik before. They've allowed afterblows.
Chat, who do you want to see? Let me know. We got a whole list here. Yeah, or dying. The dying death knells.
The death throws.
Yeah, throws. Is that the word?
I'm gonna AFK for like 3 minutes to relocate.
Yeah, sounds good. You versus Drake. Oh, we didn't fight, did we, John?
We did not fight Rapier. We could watch an armored fight between us.
Yeah, yeah.
I meant to fight you on Sunday, but then I was prioritizing other people because
Yeah.
I fight you a lot.
We did. Eckhart, we have the one versus you and Rowan. This one's labeled as you, but it is. That's definitely Rags. I opened it. Is there other footage of you somewhere? Yeah, they just have this mislabeled. Fern and Roberts. All right, let's watch that one. Sounds good. Sold. MT and Rona here would love to rip those apart too. Okay, cool. Well, that is funny. Yeah, Rowan, you set up a great name for death. All right, Fern and Robert. All right, so Robert versus Fern. Let's watch it.
I didn't know there was Fern and Robert. I'm actually kind of excited about this now. Oh, single sword too.
With the wrap.
What happened there?
Bind.
These are some super fun fights. I also want to say I feel like Fern was not warm at the start. It felt like he was kind of going slow and then was sped up as we went through.
Oh, you flipped over the blade. Gotcha. Got
Is
it.
that Fern's normal sword? It looks
I
short
don't
for
know.
some reason.
It does look short, doesn't it? I can't tell if that's Fern's normal sword.
Beautiful hand snipe there.
Yeah.
Because he's not in his normal garb. Like,
Right.
Yeah, his sweatpants.
oh, thank you, Brian.
But still mod collar and
Yeah,
shoes.
still mod collar, but with the sweatpants. It's a look.
It's a look.
Them's the choice. I usually go all in on either Mundanes or Scadian.
Yeah, same. Like I'm either in practice stuff or like full garb.
It feels weird for me to wear my regalia.
I've seen you wear a scarf over a hoodie though, Boomy, so
That's true.
at an Adult Swim specifically.
Yep. Sometimes, well, the reason you put on regalia, right, is to let people know what your rank is, so they have expectation coming in.
Yeah, to be a target partially too, right? Like to have people seek you out if they want to fight.
I wore my white scarf for that reason.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
I noticed that neither of you wore any regalia when you were fencing, and I was wondering about that choice.
Well, like Boomy said, it feels weird to wear it. I was wearing my practice clothes, like I wasn't wearing
Oh,
garb.
true, yeah.
Yeah, I was in full
I
Mundanes.
wasn't going to put collar on over.
It does. It feels a little weird.
Yeah, it feels wrong.
If I had been wearing garb, I would have worn regalia.
That's
Also,
legit. I like your point, Brian. That that guy Gorget's with the mod collar built in is a good.
That is a good.
Maybe I should get
That's
one
a
of
good
those. I should. That's 5 head right there. Everyone knows
Also,
Yeah, right.
people like I did not want for fights. Like people did seek me out to fight.
That's kind of what I figured. Because y'all are well known enough that I'm sure you were inundated regardless.
Yeah. It is always like
Did you get juked out? What happened?
I don't know what happened to you. Yeah, run it 50%. But I just like walked into that sword.
What were you gonna say, John? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
It wasn't important.
All right.
It wasn't relevant to fencing or to this conversation. So it's fine.
Yeah, man.
Oh, that is a nice disengage.
Yeah, that's just a really pretty sail on the inside.
Left-handed too.
Oh, left-handed too.
Yeah, I think I greeted for a shot and then paid the price.
Yep. Agreed.
So I'm voting take Fern's legs too.
Take
I
Fern's
know.
legs.
He just
It's
demonstrated.
single.
Oh,
Yeah, and single maybe not. Yeah, if you'd keep a dagger against it, maybe.
Yeah. I feel like throwing leg shots in single is asking to get hit in the head with that beautiful Capaferro, pop the legs back, extend the arm.
yeah.
Really depends on their guard, honestly. Like I probably wouldn't throw it the way Fern is set up here. I probably wouldn't throw it his leg, but
Yeah. He does have that little bit more fused mid waist.
He did a good job of getting out of my hand control. I think he
Your
got a cut
binds,
on my neck. Yeah.
I noticed that as well in the set. He did not seem like particularly intimidated by getting bound.
No.
Was willing to kind of work his way out. So he didn't bite on any of your movements here. So I want to look at what we can do to he parried that inside. So all of that right there. I don't know if it's because he was slow to it. Because you moved really fast on the inside-outside.
So I asked him about this afterwards, and I noticed that when I was fighting, like I couldn't get him to bite on anything. And what he said is that the people he practices with throw a lot of feints like that, and so he's gotten used to just filtering them out.
Okay.
who do you think he's talking about?
I'm not sure.
JG maybe?
JG. That's the only person. That's kind of what the name that came to my mind.
He defended the inside. He reacted to your inside, but he moved his feet. This is what I'm saying, chat. This is what I talk about for myself. Instead of necessarily following their blade, because their blade is moving way too fast, I just always take that small step back to give myself room to survive. That's if I respect my opponent's ability to close on me, I step back. Easy as that.
JG's also starting from a good sword position too here, so he only needs a foot movement to defend. Like he's just
you're talking
staying
about
behind
Fern.
his hand.
Yeah.
Sorry, Fern, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that was he read your entry, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
You see right here.
Yeah, I'm outside and he disengages.
Yeah.
Or I've pushed him to the outside.
I think for you, you could have this exact motion that you did if you took your guard and brought it slightly lower. I'm talking like 8 inches lower. Create a little bit more vertical coverage over his blade. It would have been much harder for him to deal with any sort of disengage low.
Right.
You went
I've definitely
punched
got
out the
room to do
side as
that.
well instead of forward. Those are probably two things.
I agree with that.
Oh yeah.
Because you punched out looking for it as opposed to like forward through his blade. Because you're looking for that one. You're doing the motion of like a guy who's trying to go around a dagger. Does that make sense?
Right.
In this
I think
case,
I'm trying
you
to
should go
find his
forward.
sword here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. Just punch through.
But, yeah,
Because his
yeah.
sword has to be there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if your hand was lower, you could probably just punch your hand forward and drop the point.
Exactly. That's
Kinda
100%
drive it
what I
through
would do.
him.
I would start with my blade right here, halfway between you and the level of your knee, or where you are now, and then just punch forward because you know his blade's on that side. Like if you know his blade's on that side at all, that's it. You just attack through it the second you feel any contact.
Also squat down more too here. Like squat. As I drop my hand, like just squat behind my hand and then roll the tip in.
Okay.
What? So you mean like keeping your guard close to your knee height?
Yes.
Yeah,
Then you
John
have that, you're just
gets
kind of
low. Little ball of fury.
you're just making that wall on that side, and if you if you drop your hand as you squat, you're also making that motion much faster.
Squat block.
Yeah. Yeah, they talk about it a lot in heavy fighting, but it there's definitely applies to rapier as well, more situationally. But
Like so, again, to habits that are in measure that are, I think you could shave out this motion right here. Too much risk, right here, because he could have potentially launched his attack right in this moment.
With this pass through step.
And if I were him, I would have just stepped forward, forced a reaction, and your feet are tangled. And on the follow-up action, kill you would be the goal. That said, he's also kind of laterally moving. So he's a little bit more lateral than he needed to be in that moment.
Right.
To set up. And
yeah, Brian, 100% agree with you there.
The risk of doing a fine with your... Yep.
Yeah, I think I just like greeted for that blade control.
Yep. Ooh, nice hand fights. Excellent recovery. Pretty.
Fun fact, when I was first getting started fencing, I did tons of infighting, tons of up-close fighting.
Okay.
So I don't do it as much these days, but...
Got used to it.
Single, I'm used to it, yeah. Single, it comes out in a big way.
Did you get his hand there?
Sure.
I think
it looks like it.
I think you took
It looks
his
like
hand.
he just acknowledged it and didn't play it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Let's find out. Tail of the tape.
Looks like right in his arm.
Yeah. That's get bent though.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell.
That might have been... He might have felt like a punch right there. And it's that downward.
Maybe, yeah. Just
as opposed
popped
to
in the...
forward. Yep. Hard to say.
He
But
kind of
there was
picks
an
his,
acknowledgement.
like he looks like he acknowledges it as good. I think he called it.
Yeah.
It looked like, and I liked whether it landed or not. I liked that. Like his emotion. It was a good timing to throw that.
Oh yeah. That whole exchange is pretty right there.
Yeah, the back and forth there. I like that.
He hit that Molinet, like the hanging guard into a Molinet, his blade back online.
He's really pulling cuts here. It's funny.
Yeah. Both of you would have I feel like been happier with percussive cuts.
Yeah. Oh my lord.
In this interaction.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think in single, like there's so many occasions to throw cuts.
Yeah,
like that.
absolutely.
I think fighting single in SCA versus fighting HEMA in like cut and thrust or HEMA is like such a dramatically different game because of that.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see that.
Okay. Chat, watch his feet. Check this out. As Fern enters, he enters with a big forward commitment. But when he tries to bail, he steps a little too far back. Right? Like that looks uncomfortably far back in terms of stance. But he wants to go back in. Like you can see it in his posture. He's like, oh, I see opportunity. I'm going to throw back at Robert. And so from that too long of a stance, he like tries to generate power, but it forces him to commit to a step where you see how both of his feet are moving forward. Robert, who based on the move where his sword is, does not seem like he's changed much measure, which now puts Fern on a direct trajectory forward without any recourse. I think is what happened in this moment. And he's like, oh shit, I got too close.
Yeah. I imagine he was expecting me to keep retreating there.
Yeah, exactly. But I think when he stepped back a little too far. And that kind of caused the whole footwork collapse. I say that as if it's like some traumatic thing. These are all small details and two excellent fighters.
Good timing.
He sold you on that.
Yeah.
On that relax. That was all body language.
Yeah.
That's an interesting because he's cross-stepping back to get that launch forward.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of a trick, right?
Yeah, it's a quick switch of your feet. It's a look relaxed right here, like right before the start. And see, oh, I'm scared, I swear. Don't mind me. I'm leaving. And this is like right here is the aggressive mode turn on. You can see the posture.
Yeah.
This getting ready to catch. At this point, your brain's like, oh, maybe I don't want this.
Yeah, right.
I
think this is a big misread for me because it looks like he's retreating here, which he is.
Well,
but he's because he's doing that passing step, he's primed to relaunch that.
That's a very pretty shot. That's one that's not at all in my repertoire, but it is a cool looking shot.
Mhm.
Stop
I do like
thrust-ish,
that.
but it's really, I mean, he throws right back in at you, and does
Well,
so with very good,
Good control.
blade mechanics. Yep.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
covered that whole line. Yeah.
Fern's fighting is looking more and more like Aaron
He
Harper's.
looks so fucking good. Yeah. When he
I mean,
he
that-
is on point,
That's good.
he
yeah,
looks really good.
I mean it's a very good compliment. Like Fern, yeah, he's gotten so much better
Yeah, he's gotten crazy good. Yeah.
since I met him.
Yep. Robert, can you explain how we thought Boomy was doing the same thing?
Oh, I thought Boomy was doing the same thing. What do you mean?
I'm not sure the context, but that is from chat.
Oh, from
Sapper.
Yeah, wait, let me take a look.
And the other one we're looking at is a death video as well.
Something, yeah, I'd love to know, Nate, let me know more context, but I assume what he's talking about is we were watching your fights with me, him, and Marcus, and noticed you doing this, this like retreating feint, like you're pretending to retreat, but you're not going all the way in. And if I recall correctly, you step with the back foot, step with the front foot, but never actually like settle your weight back, and so you're like primed to launch forward again.
Oh. Yeah, let's take a look at that. Is there which one is it? Is it versus Marcus? Versus
Let me I've got it noted down. I'll send you a link in a sec.
Okay.
I think it's your fights versus me.
Our set.
Yeah.
That was a good set.
That was fun.
I was very like in my head. It is still one of the hardest sets of the day.
I could tell that you turned it on because we were tracking. Like I told you, we were tracking wins and losses.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you
I
just
tried.
brought
I
it.
put on my try-hard pants. Brought as much as I could to
Yeah.
bear for in
Yeah.
the moment.
You should have made a bet. That's really how to get Boomy
Yeah.
to go for it. Doesn't have to be anything of consequence either. Just like
Yeah, a beer.
a beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lunch, whatever.
Bet you I can win 50% of our fights. That kind of thing. Yeah.
There's got to be a little bit more stakes for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard. John and I have talked about this so much, but it's hard for me to like derive the will to fight at speed. Like bring what I can
Yeah.
in a moment.
Yeah.
And in a non-tourney context.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. It's even harder on a. Not only is it casual in the practice, but it's also after having exerted myself the day before, and so my brain's like,
totally.
This is all like, for fun, for funsies.
Yeah.
And so it's like chill.
Right.
But when you tell me
feel
your
like-
your record keeping, it helps me like get inspired to try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the thing you're talking about as far as my retreat step?
There's a moment in this fight. Let me see if Nate had any more follow-up with the
You're
fake
talking
up
about
on this.
kind of like a fake leave from Boomy that turns into an attack.
Yeah, that's essentially it.
Oh, Boomy definitely does that. It's very different mechanically than what Fern did.
Fern,
But
yep.
For sure. Yeah.
was that a good face or? It
I
looked
don't
like
know
it
what happened.
slapped.
It's hard to tell. I haven't watched these fights, so then honestly I don't remember the details at this point.
I can tell you the win rate.
Did you catch me? Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, Big Ben.
You caught me there.
Did we double here?
I think we doubled. That's what it looks like.
It looks like you're
Oh,
inside
I
my
think
dagger.
I said you tip cut me because I was parrying upward, and you were like,
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll call it.
It was hard
this.
to honestly from the video. It's hard to tell whether that landed went in point first or whether it slapped in and then
Right.
it got pushed
Yep.
off.
Okay.
I gave the feedback of I think
could've-
it slid based on the feeling of it, and then you put it away. You filed it away in your index. Pretty.
Your defense was really good there, Boomy, until the very end.
Until I got shanked.
So, like
Some of these?
right here, good control, and then then he disengages real nice. Let me see that again real quick. I want to see the disengage. How did he get over? Because that's blocked out.
No. I should be throwing here instead of like 1, 2.
Look, you thought about a dagger shot for a second.
Yeah. Then I
The
lost
sword
track of
lines-
his sword, so I think my brain auto was like,
You're like, go back to the
deal,
wall.
deal with the wall. Yeah, exactly. Until I find his blade. Or
then
get
you
into a
go back-
measure, into a measure that I might could throw. But he also, yeah, I can't
We're
commit
s-
fully.
Yeah, we were so close to dagger range here.
Yep,
and we
we're
just
both like
didn't-
flirting with dagger movements, but have to
Yeah.
deal with the sword.
We're like 4 intentions deep at this point.
Yep.
Yeah. Over
So
the
right
dagger.
here, I think because I crossed up to get in. Yep.
That is a pretty nice disengage, that little cutover kind of.
Yeah, that's very pretty. That's the shot that you threw at Fern in the single sword. That's the
Wait,
use
Reddit?
for it. Where you
Reddit,
punch
back
outward
again
more
at
and go over
normal
my
speed.
dagger.
I didn't catch the ending of that little set.
I was saying you throw this shot that you throw here is the one we were talking about earlier with that you should not have used against Fern in that context. But in this context, it's like perfect. You punch out with your sword and flip it over my dagger right here. Yeah, you punch out a little bit more, flip right over dagger. It's pretty.
I mean, it could have been,
yeah.
it could have been like a tiny bit smaller, but like, that's really nitpicky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really nitpicky. Yeah, so that's really
Dodging
good.
that dagger.
Yeah.
Nitpicky, that's how we get better, right?
Yeah. No, I'm
Absolutely.
like, it's reasonable to point out, but also like still really good.
Yeah,
That
I just tapped your drape there.
Yeah, that looked passe.
Yeah.
You did a really
Absolutely.
good job of defending yourself in that interaction. Because
There's all dagger, right?
you threw with rice.
Through
in that,
thrice.
right? You throw over, and then right here. 1, 2.
Good sword parries
3.
and dagger parries there both, actually,
Yep.
yeah.
And watching both daggers do
Good
their job.
exchange. Very good exchange.
Chet, one of the things I want to point out is I try my best to track their sword with my dagger all the time. You'll see my dagger is not a stagnant position. It is constantly moving to match their sword.
Huh?
What's your objective in doing that? Are you trying to keep them like what's your ideal relative position of your dagger to their sword?
Ask that one time. I'm sorry.
What's your objective when you're tracking with the dagger? Like what's your ideal position relative to their
to
sword?
lock them into either inside or outside. Generally, most people I want to lock outside.
Gotcha.
But what I don't want to do is let my dagger be in a position where it is splitting the difference of coverage to where it's not actually locking out one side or the other. That's, I think, in my opinion, the worst version of a dagger is when you leave it static. And so when someone throws, it can go to either side of your dagger. So now you're defending nothing, and you have to choose.
You're just relying on
it's just
reflex,
more work.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's why it's the old trick of throwing, but I still do this sometimes actually. You throw straight at their dagger blade.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Because then they have to make a choice, and then you just go straight.
Yeah,
through
you go
them.
straight. Yep. Oh no! What happened? I don't
Did you
remember
get him?
this. Apparently, you should have taken my legs.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, this is my point exactly. Actually, this is not really what I was imagining. I was imagining like chasing you down the Penzig battlefield with one hand. But
This is you see how? So John, we were talking about earlier about switching your feet. I switched my feet.
Yeah.
yes, but you're
That's
still.
not refused though.
This is sword foot forward.
Sword foot forward. Exactly. I didn't fight
Yeah.
refused in this case.
Yeah.
In this specific case.
Right.
Because I
No,
wanted
this
extra
is not.
range. And I did.
I understood what you meant eventually.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Said it in a weird way.
Yeah, I did. I agree. I think I did to you, Robert, what you did to me earlier, which is
What's that?
going over the outside. Like
Wait, no, I can tell you exactly what happened here. So bring it back.
Yeah.
10 seconds. Play it at full speed.
Speed.
Yeah. As soon as I've taken your arm is what I want to see. Yeah.
All right. It'll run. Get there.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, so I got that cut.
Yep. Yeah, to cut it.
And
off.
then pause here.
Oop.
So this is a sequence that I really like, and I try to use maybe more than I should at this point,
Okay.
where you essentially create an invitation to do a disengage. You either push them inside or push them outside.
Yep.
Expect them to
You've pushed me
disengage,
inside. Yep.
and then immediately switch from second to fourth or fourth to second and ride it in. And what I think you do here is you feint the disengage, and then you just come right back up.
Yes. Can you explain to me the second fourth thing? I don't think I fully understand what your intention was.
So like the second and fourth guards with the rapier. So if I'm pushing you to the outside in this context, I'm in second.
Yep.
Right. If I'm pushing you to the inside, I'm in fourth.
Okay.
As soon as I feel you going to disengage, I can switch between those two to catch you on my true edge and keons and just ride in.
I think this pairs back into what we were talking about earlier. Is your guard of your main blade, if you want to do that with your main weapon, is too high.
Too high.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so you can just see it right.
Like you
right,
see
right,
how
right.
like you have to chase my blade down as opposed to starting a little lower.
Interesting.
That's my assertion. And honestly, the way I would fix it is because you're using two different items. You did not bring your dagger to cover the secondary line.
Yeah.
I would have taken my dagger and punched it like tip right at your guard, and you punching across right past your hip with your hand, and that would have stopped me from potentially coming inside at all. You could have just locked me out in full, and just run that wall toward me. If that makes sense, like keep your main sword exactly where it is.
Yeah, just adjust that dagger to cover.
Yep.
Kind of make
just create a full wall, and I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, Rowan, I 100% agree. I overcommit to that for sure. It just becomes too big. Also, Chef Roarty, 10 out of 10. Love it.
That's amazing. All these names on point.
Who's Miguano Estuguano in the chat?
That's my old. What?
I'm seeing it right here. Is that Death? Oh no, Edward. Maybe that's my guess.
Oh, you just changed it. Oh, I got you.
I was looking at the.
Was Rowan saying Rowan is their old name?
I think Rowan just changed their Twitch name
to Chef.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
By a disengage into a find. Brian, can you ask that question a different way? Not understanding what you're asking.
Right, a disengage into a find. Do you experience an immediate re-disengage?
I think that giving, like you were talking earlier about inviting the disengage by placing your blade, locking me out.
Already in a find. Right.
Yep. Into a find. Do you experience immediate? Well, he did there. He experienced the immediate.
Yeah, right. I think that's what Boomy did to me. Yeah. And I think my perception is that's just like a high-level fighting thing, right? You've fought so much, you've experienced people trying to do that to you, and so you kind of know what's coming.
You know what? In that moment, there was head empty, smooth brain.
Yeah.
I was just on autopilot.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you what I was thinking because I probably wasn't. It was just whatever I trained my body to do.
Reacting based on like a previous experience, probably.
Correct.
Like Rob was saying. It just,
exactly. Yeah.
Your training served you in that moment.
Most of my fights go by like in the moment. I cannot process them. It moves too fast.
Totally.
I very much have to go back and watch footage and because I just can't.
This is actually Go ahead, John. I have a totally tangential topic I want to talk about.
I was just going to say that really you can't be thinking too consciously during a fight. It's just too slow, right? So kind of what Boomy is describing, like high-level fighters will sometimes describe seeing things or whatever, and that is true to a point, but it has to all be very automatic and very almost subconscious. Otherwise, you'll just get hit. And I think that's somewhere where lower mid-level fighters sometimes get caught, is they think that they should be thinking more because they hear higher level fighters talk about the way they think, but it's a specific type of thinking that that's almost not thinking.
It's like thinking backed up by so much drilling that the thoughts are barely even fully formed thoughts.
Yeah,
They're like, yeah,
yeah. You can think out of range. You can be like, I think that a disengage would be a good idea here, right? And then you go into guard and you just have to do it. But if you're thinking like, I'm going to disengage here in the middle of a fight, then it's too slow and you're probably just going to die.
right.
Sapper, is this what you're talking about as far as when I look relaxed on a retreat step, but not actually fully relaxing? Like this moment right there? Like with my
Yeah, so you relax into that back foot.
I don't know if I ever like actually fully relax against an opponent that is of Robert's caliber, to be honest. Like I'm always somewhat aware of their ability to dispatch me at any given time. Chat, this is something for all of you, from me. When someone is pushing you, in this case, he takes an advanced step, I try to match. He takes a second advanced step and a more aggressive one, which, by the way, Robert, if you took that second step, but like right here instead, that's what I was talking about, cheating measure and stealing the opportunity to now actually throw.
Take that second step longer, you mean?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Like a longer forward step. But chat, right here, if you watch me, I punch out with my sword with no real goal other than to stop his advance. That's it. My goal is just get away from me. You're scary. And so if you watch it at speed, it just comes out as a little hand punch right here. It's like, oh, stay away. That's all it is. It helps to elicit a reaction. Get his blade moving around a little more.
You're threatening those feet, right? Because those feet have to come forward if they want to keep pressing you.
When I press back into disrupting his set point. Yeah, I think so. I mean, part of it is bringing his blade down, and part of it is disrupting the idea that his feet have to move through where my point is going to be if I continue the extension. And then I do the torse and step into measure while picking up his sword. And this is where the adaptive dagger staying on the inside of his sword helps out a lot.
Yeah, right.
That's very good tech.
Yeah, I like that.
Thank you. The sequence. Yeah, that was so good. I
want your...
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to see that one slow. Because we spent a lot of time looking at that one, trying to figure out like how it happened. Because it feels like I feel like somehow I gained tempo to do that. Because it's not a fast movement.
From watching myself, I believe there was a delay in my... I get out. Take an arm on the way out. All right, so right here, knowing that I have a weapon advantage, I think I was somewhere in between, do I capture with dagger and throw, or do I hard close with sword-to-sword contact? And my mind was not made up. You can see how there's like hesitation in my actions.
Where you like went in, you were like, no, I don't like it.
Yeah, exactly. I overcommitted. I gave Fern shit about this, but I did the exact same thing here, where I committed too hard forward right here. Right, I'm coming in way too hard
like
instead of staying a square. Because I think what I was trying to do is lock out your blade, right? And this guard should have been to my left a little bit more to actually lock you out.
Like in fourth even?
Yeah, probably a little bit more in fourth as well. I agree. To be a stronger angle.
I think it's almost like you go to commit and then you hesitate.
Yes, that's exactly how it feels on my end. Yep, I hesitated.
Because I think if you had actually, it would have been if you had just fully committed.
Yes.
I think you actually would have been safer.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yep. Yeah. That slight hesitation, I think, is what gets me killed in that moment.
Yeah. Because you were like, oh fuck, did I want to do this or did I not?
Exactly.
And then
yep. Do not trust the go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like sometimes if you've chosen to go, even if it was a bad choice, you just need to go and like you just need to double down because it's better than going back.
Yep.
Yeah.
Than pulling that at all.
It's hard. It's definitely hard to know when that's the right choice.
100%.
I agree with John that like the practice should be if you committed, go. Don't practice the lack of commitment.
Yeah.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah, like that. That is
Oh,
you
nice.
committing
I
and
like
going.
the timing on that.
Mm-hmm. You committed, you went. Everything was
Yeah,
pretty nice.
you know, there was no hesitation on that.
Yep. Unlike mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Agreed. Agreed on all points.
I did that lean back thing you're talking about
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. I noticed it. Picked up on it.
I feel like you could have thrown a little harder on some of those parries there, Boomy.
Like pushed the like flung the blade a little more.
Yeah, just like
Agreed.
reached a little bit. I think you had a good defense. I just think you're.
Can I point one other thing out that we talked about earlier? I'm just reprising this. I am like an inch or two shorter than you in this moment.
Mm-hmm. And you're an inch or two taller than me in real life.
Yeah, this is the same thing that NP did to you.
I should tell you, I am so fucking tired at this point in the set.
Yeah.
And that's totally fair. Like your leg, when your legs start to burn out, you start to stand up.
Yep.
Yeah,
Everyone does.
absolutely.
I suppose I should say I try to make this my habit. I'm as bit.
You train that endurance.
I think every bit as exhausted, but I train this as
Yeah.
a habit. I just will not give the tell if I can help it at all.
Yeah.
Sure.
I was on Sunday at Aedult Swim. Honestly, I was trying to tell myself to stand up against. I was trying to save my legs for like the really good fighters. So if I was fighting someone that I was mostly just working with, I was like, you know what, just stand up, John. Like, don't burn your legs out in this fight.
Yeah, that's smart.
This is how like when I take a cross step back, I try to keep my hips very level, right? Like I'm very level the whole time, still squatting, so I could throw back at you.
And he's really back in his stance very quickly there, right? Too. It's like not.
Yeah.
You fake my dagger out.
This is a really good shot.
Beautifully,
actually.
yeah. Just into space, boom, straight down the center line. No.
I was zoned out now. All I see is the thrust. Yep, play it back for me.
Do you want to watch it again?
Yeah. Yeah,
Daggers.
catch the start.
Yeah. Dagger's mostly forward too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Simple thrust. Feint.
Yep. You just faked out there's the high low on the dagger side.
Mm-hmm. I'm finding that's like one of the most bang for my buck offensive things I do with my sword these days. It's just 1-2 feints.
And I need to be better about stepping back and then covering my my dagger low. Like I should have brought my dagger low to cover that.
Can we see that last lunge from Boomy here a second too?
Yeah. Sapper, that it is when I cross step, it is very much that. It is a deliberate step to not end up in a sort of a refused stance.
I also think that a replacement step, if people understand what that is a good time if you catch yourself cross-stepping too much, is a good like transition to like get yourself back to your stance very quickly.
Is that John, when you say replacement step, is that if you're presented, your right foot's forward, your sword arm is your right arm. You bring the right foot back and then immediately the left one goes back, taking you back to your standard guard.
Yes, and you do it almost as like a kind of a kick. So I think of it as I'm kicking my right foot back towards my left foot, and then does it then I kind of replace it. If we watch any videos of me fencing, we can probably find an example of it.
This is what we talked about as a defense for foot snipes, right?
Yes, because it doesn't. Your back foot moves first. Your front foot moves first, but you're not doing a passing step backwards.
I want to be very judgmental about myself here. Chat. If you watch with me, watch my tip move. I should bring it in a straight line to my target. It should go in a straight line like this if you follow my mouse, right? But watch my tip travel. It actually goes to like here and then back down. So it creates like a hook, candy cane kind of shape. You see, we'll go up, and then forward, and then slightly back down here.
But do you think you were doing that as a way to kind of fake the dagger a little?
No, I actually think I just thought his head was going to be there. And I just followed through, the attack.
Still a very good lunge.
I'm happy. I was watching it. I'm happy with my legs, my feet, all that stuff. It is very
dagger
much
stays forward.
I could be better with my tip travel.
Yeah.
I could shave off a frame or two.
Yeah. Can always be better.
Always be better. Yep. Chad, I encourage you to be as judgy about yourself as you can, because really that's the way you improve. Just kind of not really ever be satisfied and say, oh, I'm good now. and then you beat John a bunch and win a bunch of lunches. It feels good.
That's the plan.
All right, what's next? Any other chat? Anything you all want to watch? Robert, John, anything you guys want to watch?
Just look at the library.
A Will Death one.
Gosh, Will Death is one of my hardest fights.
Did you fight him in this today? Or in this?
I did. I don't know if it's on
Will
video,
Death is
though.
one of the hardest fights in the SCA, so you shouldn't feel that up.
Period. That's no.
Yeah, fair.
That a core memory formed when I watched him beat Connor. At the time, in my experience thus far, I was like, oh, Connor's the top of the pile.
Connor's the god.
Yeah, he was the the proverbial god of death of Atlantia at the time. And when I watched it happen, I was like, oh,
yeah,
that's a very
God
impressive.
does bleed. Yeah.
And that was like 7-8 years ago, whatever. For context,
2016, I think is what you're thinking.
Yeah, that was the chance. It was like maybe my second or third year fighting at all.
That was kind of like my first like awareness of Will Death too. Was like that fight, and I kind of remember feeling similar, like, oh, this guy's definitely for real. Like,
yeah, that
like
launched me into like, oh, there's
also Connor was trying in that fight.
Yeah,
like,
that was Connor trying. And that's a champs fight. He didn't lose many of those. Very impressed.
Yeah.
Is there a Death Robert fight here? I don't see it. Is it somewhere else?
There's not. We only did like 4 passes and we didn't record it.
Oh, okay.
I know there's me and Death. I don't know if there's.
You want to watch you and Death?
Yeah, let's do it.
That's fine. It was definitely probably my hardest fight at Adult Swim on Rapier Field.
Where's the John section? Did I fucking miss it?
John's at the top because he's the only on-steer person.
Okay. Thank you. John.
I'm used to being on the top.
I already pulled it up. I have one correction, Robert.
Yeah, what is it?
It's the Eckhart.
It's the Eckhart fight. There's one here labeled Eckhart, and that is
it's
His Majesty Ragnar. Yeah.
Yeah.
His current Majesty.
All those armored fighters look the same.
Dukes counts. I get them mixed up sometimes.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, this is what I'm fighting with Torst's dagger, too.
Oh, man, my fat ass is in the way. All right. Bro.
Good job, Billy.
Who's that fight again? It was
I'm sorry?
The one that's mislabeled. Is Ragnar and was that Montana?
Yeah, Ragnar and Montana. Yeah, it's under the Montana category. There's not much fight here. It's like a minute of fight. How did you feel, Death? I mean, you fought as much as both of us, as far as armored is concerned. Yeah, those in chat who haven't fought Will Death, fantastic fighter.
Can you rewind that for a second? I think I did a replacement set there just since we were talking about that. Just a way to show it.
Okay, I'll throw it at 50. You can talk the audience through it.
So I think it's right. No, I don't. That's not really the quite.
That's not a real replacement. That's just like a hop out disengage.
Yeah,
shot.
I couldn't. The first time I saw it, I thought it was a replacement, but it definitely wasn't. No. Never mind.
Yep. No, that's
like John, I have a
casual.
John, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Which is, what is your kind of go-to strategy against Death?
I tend to try to think about kind of keeping one hand on each sword. So like my dagger is usually against his. Because usually he has the his left sword higher, his right side sword lower. So I kind of try to line up my sword with his line up my sword with one of his swords and my dagger with the other sword. And then I try to either think about if I can get a cross parry on his right sword and get everything across, then I can sometimes outstep him. But I don't honestly like. It's always easier said than done, right? Like
yeah, of course.
Like I've never super had a strategy that I felt like super confident with. I think the last time I fought him, I beat him in the on-steering tourney, and I think I did a shot down the center, and then I think I picked one of his hands. It was a 2 out of 3, and then he did this little 1-2 thing here, and that he kills me with right here. He got me with that in the third pass in our tournament set. And this is really hard to deal with because you have to deal with one hand and then the other hand instantly. And he just catches me standing up here, right? Like I parry and stand up instead of giving ground.
So here's a thought. Like if he baits the cross parry out of your dagger with his left hand, you just are dead because your sword is so buried by the other two blades that you can't really bring it to defend yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What that means is maybe fighting against Will Death, you kind of have to parry to the outside. So no matter what hand is coming at you, it has to be forced to the outside. You cannot bring it across your body.
Yeah, you maybe have to sword parry that side.
Yeah, so you have to do an outside parry with your sword.
I think that you can cross parry his right sword with the dagger.
Oh, I see. Punch it across, and then if you can catch.
And then step to your right, to your left.
Or through it. Yeah. I get what you mean.
So if you're gonna cross parry, you have to cover both, essentially.
Yeah.
So that's a really good point. Like you just cannot cross parry that left blade. That is.
Yeah, I think that's totally right. Not without better range, right? Like maybe a quick cross and then like a big leave. But I think that if you're putting two of your weapons on one side, which leaves his sword free. That's a really good point, Boomy. Actually, that's basically what Sven does.
I hadn't thought about it until just now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
But that little 1-2 is essentially what Sven does with his armored two-sword fighting, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Just
I wonder if there's an analogy or something analogous for armored where you're pushing to the outside.
I think if you cross block against Sven too, that also doesn't work. I agree. I think. I think you have to block with whichever you block his shield and his sword. Like whichever sword he's throwing, you have to block with that side of your body with your hand.
Okay.
I think that is correct.
Oh man. Chat. Last time I fought Death when I went up to Boston, he trounced me. Not close. We were both.
Rowan falling down in the background totally distracted me.
All right. We gotta frame that, right? That's the.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you get point on there?
I think it's a double. I can't remember if I passe or not.
Was it her dagger's up on you?
Yeah, definitely.
What happened there?
Her feet are all crossed up, I think.
Is that what happened? Oh, I see. At the cross up.
Is this a new like Mike falling gif?
Yeah, maybe. It's not as prominent. Mike falling was something special.
That was.
What happened here? What happened to your feet? Okay, so she steps. Oh, I think the duck out prevented that right foot or right leg from actually being able to land in any real way. Whoop. There we go. What? I mean, you hit him from that video, from what I can tell. Good work, chef.
Lay down. Did that land?
No.
It looked like you acknowledged it, but I didn't. I thought it was passe. Huh.
Unknown. I might have said it. I think it hit the cloth or something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
The little dagger salute at the end looked like you were acknowledging it good, but it didn't look good to me.
Ooh.
Oh, nice foot.
Yeah. Yeah, look at that. That's pretty. That was right on top. Boop. What a good boop. Oh, chat. What John was just talking about, that replacement step, is I think what I just did there. Sort of. That right there, that step. Let me move my my head.
So you have to, the little thingy is covering it.
Yeah. So right here, I believe is what you're talking about, right, John? Like that.
Yeah,
hop
that
back.
looked like a replacement step. Yeah.
My emergency get out of dodge replacement step. We'll watch the next, Brian. I'm down.
So the replacement step's supposed to defend your foot. Obviously, it didn't work in that situation.
No,
But...
your shot was very pretty in that
Yeah.
moment. There's nothing I can do about that.
So Death was fighting left lead there, right? Okay, yeah. So Death, you we're still in the chat, right?
Yeah.
I know you were experimenting with like the last few years you've been experimenting with kind of a left foot lead rather than the right foot lead. How do you feel about that currently? Like, I think I don't I don't like fighting you with the left lead. That feels harder to me to fight. Like I like your right lead feels like you're a weird fight, like a different fight, so I have to adjust a lot anyway. And I feel like the left lead makes me have to adjust more than the right lead. But I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Boomy.
None in particular. I can't say. There's nothing very consistent. The fights flow. Like,
yeah.
So I can't be like this side
yeah,
is better than the other side.
This guard feels more frustrating.
You like this one less?
Yeah, like I hate this is harder for me when he's left lead.
Okay. I think I probably like it more, if I had to be honest.
Interesting.
I think it's because it puts him a little bit closer to me.
Well, see, I am more worried about his right hand, right? Because he's right-handed.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like not being able to, with it being farther back and I can't touch it, I feel more concerned. But
yeah, I get what you mean.
But I think being able to switch up both is probably a good tactic from him.
Especially for the style.
Yeah.
What's happening in the back with you and Rowan?
I almost dagger rushed her because I took her hand, I think. Dagger hand. I think there is video of that fight from, like, I think that...
From Rowan's perspective? Yeah.
Yeah, Rowan's phone is filming that fight, I think.
Oh, that's right. They hauled out the body in the rug back there.
Oh, yeah.
The bodies of the fallen Adult Swim attendees.
Like, I almost ended up in that rug at certain points. What was that? Leg for a body?
Oh, it's an attempted leg, I think.
Yeah.
I think there was I think I stepped when he stepped.
Yeah, this is good timing, I think.
Yeah, it's the read on the step.
Yeah.
So I saved my leg by walking in. Oh yeah.
Now it's Rowan and me.
All right, Brian. You wanted to watch something, right?
What was the request? Did you happen to get video of our passes from Sunday? I think they're on the spreadsheet. Didn't see it on the sheet.
Yeah, I don't think it's on the spreadsheet. Rowan, if you've got that video, link it to me and I can add it.
Let's see. Rowan, did you label your videos?
Why did Millicent Rowan wrestling come up?
I uploaded what I had. Okay.
I uploaded what I had. It just might not exist then, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Take it easy, friend.
Yeah.
Have a good night.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah. Also, you want to have that footage? Chat. Offer last call for any videos y'all want to watch. I want to scroll through it. This is John versus this list of humans. Boomy versus this list of humans. Me versus Edward. Oh, that's a different Edward. Got it.
If you don't get any other requests, I would love to see Matthias from Alchemark versus John.
Yeah.
Actually,
oh,
a lot of good options.
There's a lot of good
If the video for John sucks, there are a couple with Matthias that are like him in the background. Let me see. Looks like this one's right on. Yeah, let's do that one.
Let's do it.
I remember him. He gave me a good fight this day, I think, if I remember right.
Matthias is a real good fencer. He's I'd say probably one of our top 10 tournament fighters.
I think he's gotten a lot better since I first fenced with him.
The guy who asked us when I told about woodworking. As long as it doesn't break at the tang, you're good to go. Yeah, Matthias made 16 or 8 in this last Onsier. Yeah, they were up there. I remember watching them fight. John, what was in your mind in this fight, if anything in particular?
I honestly don't remember. Not getting my dagger hand picked because that kept happening.
Yeah. You look a little slower. Like, visually, you look slower. Because you're not reacting as quickly to the initiations.
I was honestly worried that I was going to feel like that I was going to fight real bad on Sunday because of all the just being tired from Saturday doing Armored and from staying up till 4 in the morning talking.
Yeah, you guys went late. Chat.
But I was.
John stayed up till 4 in the morning with Rowan, just shooting the shit, and then came out and fought Sunday.
And then fought the next day.
Yeah, I'm impressed. I cannot do that. I need more sleep to function as a human.
Yeah, give me 7 hours minimum.
Yeah, I can fake it pretty good for a couple days, and also like, I only get to hang out with these people so often, right? So I was like,
yeah, across the country, yeah.
Yeah. And Rowan used to live, Rowan's one of my best friends. He used to live here in Texas. We used to hang out all the time, so we don't get to hang out as much as we used to. So it's like, I'll take advantage of this. And if I fight a little slower tomorrow, I'll be fine. But yeah, if it had been like a tournament or something, I would have gone to bed. But
yeah, as opposed to pickups for a day.
nice attack.
Yeah, that's good. I'll watch that again. I don't think I respected the attack.
Did you all double in that one?
No, I think he won.
I think it
looks like
a double.
Yeah, he's tapping that belly shot.
Yep. And he gets it off of my nonsense probe. I'm not like really initiating anything.
It looks like he's dropped the parry though. His dagger's way down.
Yep. Dagger could be better.
Yeah, I think if he just committed to the crossbody dagger parry, he would have been fine there.
Oh. Oh, yep.
Yeah.
It looks like
his sword was very good. His dagger was a little off, I think, was what happened. But
he caught me on my extension, which is excellent, timing-wise. I don't know when I started doing this. Maybe John, you can tell me when I started doing this because I don't know when, but I started doing this little motion with my dagger and sword a lot more. That like set in place.
I feel like that's definitely like a kind of a thing when you started fighting with Tora.
Yeah, I think that might have been Tora rubbing off on me, like just
like you're kind of looking because he does that kind of like set motion too.
Yep.
That looks like a unconscious mimic of Tora, actually. To
Yeah,
me.
I actually, yeah.
I do the same thing. Fighters that I'm trying to if I'm trying to take some of their, even just like one technique from a fighter, sometimes I'll copy a bit of their body language.
Mhm.
Um,
I did that. Absolutely did that with you and Rowan over the week.
I'll take it as a compliment. Thank you. Yeah, the Duke Lachlan, the Duke that I train with, accused me. He's like, you're fighting like me, but you're also like moving your head around like me and stuff. And I'm like, oh, sorry, that was definitely not intentional.
Okay, chat. I want to give an example of one thing that I think a lot of intermediate to high level fencers do that I think could be way tighter. And there's this motion. Matthias demonstrates it. Matthias?
Matthias is how he says it.
Thank you. Matthias is doing here. And it is this oh shit windmill down parry. I see this a lot. A lot of people do this one right here, where the blade, almost like a propeller, chops from a high guard down and covers essentially everything in that when you feel threatened low. So my assertion is that bringing your blade into an almost parallel to the front of your body plane is very ineffective compared to keeping your tip pointed forward, right? We always talk about extending forward to cover via a cone. It works in a similar way where your tip should really stay forward and he should really just drop it from where it was up here to about my knee, and the tip should end up roughly where my cursor is. Hopefully that makes sense to folks who are watching, but I would have done this parry and he could have stopped right here and just brought his blade across and would have interrupted everything that I could possibly throw at him.
So instead of oh shit covering,
instead of bringing his tip like another like 2 feet
like
backward and down, which now he has no chance to re-threaten me. If that makes sense. Like this part of it's very overkill in terms of bringing the blade, and it's less effective because it's so much closer to your body now. The blade is. That's one thing that I actually is a very common thing that I see that I think could be corrected for better efficiency. The thing that happened after is he just caught unawares for just a split second. Nothing fancy there. It just is what it is. But that downward kind of propeller parry is definitely one that I think can be improved for a lot of folks.
So John, you were talking about mimicking body language. I want to know, do you also mimic accents?
No, I'm really bad at accents, honestly.
Okay.
But I definitely mimic body language of fencers. Like I've always done that, and I actually feel like I have a pretty good, like I can sort of fight a little. At least I can get into the on guard stance of a lot of different fencers. Like we've played the game where like name a fencer. Like I'll do a pose and people will guess who it is, and I can usually
guess the fencer.
Yeah. Which I always wanted to do, like, guess that fencer, like do the Pokemon.
That'd be a fun thing to do maybe at war.
That sounds like a fun game.
And I'm usually pretty good at like the mimicking of it. But yeah, no, I'm not very. I'm bad at accents and stuff like that. But I think it's probably It might be a similar thing. I don't know. Do you copy accents?
I do so badly. It's specifically British and Australian accents. I guess maybe because I'm kind of familiar with those ones. But I remember a really specific incident at war probably 5 years ago. Someone from Locock, we were in the woods battle. We were just chatting, and I just slipped into his accent. I just started speaking to him in an Australian accent, and it was embarrassing. I was like, I didn't mean to do this. I'm not making fun of you.
It just rubs off.
Yeah, for whatever reason, my brain just will like latch onto the accent.
I do it code switching for like the way someone speaks. So.
I've heard it's a common ADHD trait, which I possess.
Well, we learn language through mimicking, right? Like that's just how kids learn language, and like how learning a language through immersion works, right? So it makes sense that people would, if you're around a certain way of speaking, you would start to pick up the accent or even like the turns of phrase, like I know when I hang out with Boomy, I start to use his stupid phrases and stuff.
It's so good. I love it. I sometimes do it just to get John to do it. I turn up the memes, just so John walks away and just becomes the guy who says certain things. It's a lot of fun.
Hello, chef.
Yeah, And honestly, my like at Penzic, my brother like went like really all in on Boomy's Boomy's verbiage. Very funny.
I think
What are
that
some of your favorite Boomisms?
Oh, um, there's so many though, and it kind of rotate.
do rotate. I don't like letting memes get stale on my end.
My favorite Boomy meme that is like a very specific like from a Penzic like I don't know a long time ago at this point was the lower and upper Hakama meme.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think that might have been a my brother Miguel thing too, right?
I walked up the way it unfolded. Chat is this is Penzic many years ago when Master Miguel was still playing. It was after a day of fighting. I was heading down. You know, the sun hasn't quite set yet, and so it's post fighting, post shower, post food. Starting to get pre gaming period of the day. So I probably had a couple of drinks and was wandering down to see friends. At the time, I was in Japanese garb, and I don't know the names of the different pieces. The only word that I had in my head at the time was Hakama. And so when Miguel, John's brother, asked me, what are you wearing? I said, oh, this is my lower and upper Hakama. And he loved it. And so it just became a meme for that war. I think it's called Kasode. I don't know. And I'm not sure which one's the Kasode. But it was funny in my head, so I just said it out loud.
Forever now to me.
Yeah. That's what happened. I thought it was funny, so I said it out loud, and then it became a meme. Which is how I think most good memes should start. Like the chef thing is now a meme.
Yeah.
And we'll run that for a while, and then we'll get tired of saying pleat jokes, and then we'll move on to the next thing.
Oh, I probably agree with Rowan in the chat too. That like the rude ass.
Yeah, rude
John
ass, bitch
whatever.
ass. Yeah,
just
a bunch
keep
of ass.
saying
Yeah.
something ass. Yeah, that's probably actually my favorite, like Boomyism, the thing he actually says. The other thing is just like one of my favorite, like just stupid meme jokes from a Penzic that was like just a fun memory.
We have, you hang around people long enough, everybody has inside jokes. As it goes. And to your point, Robert, I mimic not accents, but I mimic people's way of speech. Like you can tell how someone approaches speech, the way they deliver lines, that rubs off real bad on me. And I will code switch to someone who I perceive to be more academic versus a chill ass viber. Like there's a difference there, and I will definitely, especially in like one-on-one hang out with somebody, getting to know somebody, or like in a small group setting, will definitely kind of switch out based on the audience present. I think it's just being a social animal. Did either of you have anything else for to watch? Did you want to watch?
I think I'm probably good for tonight, but
Robert?
I'm good here. We got through a lot.
Yeah, went through a good bit. Chat. Thank you very much for hanging out. Before you all go this evening, tomorrow night, 6:30 Eastern. Is that correct? Did I get that right?
I believe so. Yes.
We will have another stream specifically about the tournament mindset with Dom and Rowan and John, and I'm very excited about that. So if you guys are around, I want to hang out and hear about how the lot of us approach tournament fighting and keeping our mental strong. Come join us then. You're very welcome. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate the kind words. And chat, I hope to see you all tomorrow, 10 a.m. Australian on Sunday. Yeah, and the VOD of this will be up if folks want to share this stream. I'll post it on my YouTube channel, and that should be up in a couple days. So hope everyone has a good night and a good weekend, and I will talk to you all later. Have a good night.
Yeah, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Or good morning if you're in Australia or something.